Hello and welcome to Drumming Up Conversation. I'm Justin Wood.
I'm Andrea Wood.
So, as you can see, the pup's running amok right now. We're settling her down. We just got home from work, so she's been kenneled all day. So, if she pops up here and there, that's why. Yeah, so this is a fun episode. They're all fun, don't get me wrong. This one is our second longest, surprisingly, not our longest. We had to look it up though, because the first
Yeah,
Fear Frontier one we had, I'm like, I think that was over 4 hours.
was.
So, and we did go back and look at it, and it was. And we didn't even realize that much time had gone by. We were just like, hey, let's go ahead and yeah, we'll call it right now. Do this again some other time. And then we looked down. I was like, oh my God, it was 3.5 hours, I believe. And we're like,
Yeah.
oh, just great conversation. No one was in any hurry, nothing going on. We're just having a lot of fun talking about life and the many lives that our guest Bill Hines has lived already.
And still have a positive outlook on it.
Very positive
Yeah.
outlook. Yeah. I don't know how I would be in those situations, but then again, as we talked about, he's got nothing to hide and nothing that he needs to be worried about because he hasn't done anything wrong.
Yeah, it's a good dude.
Yeah, very good dude. And we were introduced to him by the Gracious Two, Chad Gracie
Mhm.
and J Ro. J Ro, he reached out to J Ro, and we're like, absolutely, we'd love to have him on because we watched his Thrillcast, especially the episodes
Right.
where he talked about him and J Ro talked about like, hey, if you want to do a podcast, start off with like just a single microphone that you can plug into your computer,
Yeah.
do some episodes, see if you like it, and then start building from there. And that's exactly what we did, and it's great advice.
Yeah. And it was really cool because we're like, oh, we already do that. Oh, we already do that.
Yeah.
But maybe we want to do that.
And
Yeah.
then, reaching out about like microphones and this and that. And then, I'm just finally we're to where we have a mixing board. As you can see, we're wearing headphones now.
Don't
It's
like them.
no, we need to get you more of a pair like I have. We just need to get more consistent ones because these are pretty comfortable.
Yeah.
After a while, headphones just aren't the most comfortable. So, I do like it for editing and hearing it better because when we had J-Ron, didn't have the headphones yet. We had to dig them up out of the boxes and stuff. We're still unpacking, and
Yep.
because it was a little tough to hear him with our audio because I reconfigured our computer and stuff in here,
Mhm.
so it's easier for Zoom. We're looking, like straight at who we're talking
I
to
know
instead
I
of
feel
off to the
weird
side.
because I'm looking straight ahead, not
Hmm.
turning towards
I mean,
you.
you can. It's no
I know.
no big deal. It's just it's nice when we have someone on though, how it's set up now.
Yep.
But we'll go ahead and get into that. Oh, real quick too, we will be doing a recap episode. We just saw Dream Theater the
We
other night,
did.
and we'll do a recap episode on that with the people that went with us. One of them we're probably going to have on this upcoming Saturday. Obviously, we're recording this after the conversation because you notice we're wearing different clothes in the other video.
Yep.
Yeah, so we did that. We'll do a follow up. So that might be out by the time this airs. If it is, you already listened to it. And yeah, it was a lot of fun, but we'll get into that more when we do that episode. So just in case it came out about the same time as this or before, you can go back and check that out too. It will be on YouTube because we're going to do video with Zoom and all that. So it'll be a lot of fun, but we'll go ahead and get into this episode.
Awesome.
All right, so today we're joined by Bill Hines, entrepreneur, race car driver, does a lot more than that, but that's just generally what we're going to go over if we don't get into other things. And he's also our Valentine, so thank you for
Yeah.
being our Valentine this evening.
Oh, geez, haven't been someone's Valentine in a long time. That's,
um,
that's funny.
and
Maybe
looking
maybe theirs.
There you go.
it's been a while.
My buddy. Actually, it's funny. I saw that. I said, let me bring that on the podcast.
There you go.
And,
That's
I'll
awesome.
throw it over there. It was actually my daughter, my youngest daughter's funny. She'll just like throw that in her car. She bought it for like a Halloween prop one year, and then she'll just throw it in her car. It's like, look, I got two people in the car. It's like, yeah,
Could be.
Yeah.
if you can pull over by the cops, one, you're a Hines, and two, that's not going to go for well for you. So,
Yeah.
but she tries anyway.
Is
Well,
your
thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah.
Oh,
I appreciate
yeah,
that.
absolutely.
I saw
Yeah.
previous podcast of yours and was impressed. And
Thank you.
you got John Rotolo talking for hours, so that was
We
a really
did.
cool podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, that he was a part of with you guys. So
Yeah, no, that was a lot of fun. I mean, honestly, we had to all three of us were kind of like, probably should end this. It's late on his end, and even
Yeah.
getting close to ours, and we're like, okay, like we could do this for probably another 6 hours, so let's just end it. We'll do another one later down the road. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. Him and Chad have been so great with everything. So
Oh
they're
yeah.
yeah.
Has Chad been on yet, or because I haven't seen that one?
Yeah, well,
Oh,
yeah,
he has been.
that was our first YouTube we ever did was with Chad.
Oh,
So,
well, so
yeah.
that was over a year ago or something. Was it? How long ago was that?
That was November, no,
Yeah.
Oh, November.
October. It was
Oh, yeah, yeah.
October because
All right.
it was the day before the anniversary of when I saw him like 14 years prior or something like that. So
Oh,
when he
okay.
played a
So I
gig.
have to go look for that. I don't think I saw that one, so I
Oh,
will.
okay. Yeah, it's on there. I can send you the link too. So yeah.
Oh, no problem.
Okay. I
I can
think we only
Google
have
it.
like three videos on there right now. So
It's funny. I've been friends with Gracie for a long time, right?
mhm.
And he'll go on a podcast, and I'll go, I didn't know that. Like, and there's and even like he'll bring stuff up that even fans don't know. I was like, man, you have so many stories from being a musician and on the road, and I've seen stuff happen in real
Yeah.
time, and I'm like, oh shit, okay, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah.
it's fun. It's fun. Now, are you a drummer?
I am.
Okay, because I
Yes.
obviously drumming up conversation.
Yes,
That was a
sir. Yeah. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. I've been playing since I was 6 years old. So, but
Nice.
yeah, he even told us the Marilyn Manson story, which is really cool on
Yeah.
that. So,
Oh, okay. Then I did see that one
oh,
because
okay.
that's one of the ones I didn't know about. I'm like, well,
Yeah.
yeah, okay,
That was fun. Yeah,
yeah,
that was just I was like sit back and just listen to this. That was a crazy I guess the two times it happened, but yeah, the first time was
okay, yeah.
just nuts with
So
the
then I did see your
okay,
podcast.
there
Then
you
I'll
go.
have to go
Yeah.
back. That's one of the ones I was like, I didn't know that. I was like,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Yeah, that was
His
cool.
name, and he doesn't call him Marilyn Manson. He calls him
Because
Brian.
Brian,
Yeah.
yeah. Yep. That
Yeah.
was
I think that's
great.
funny.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
Well, you're a baseball fan. That reminds me of when Mike Piazza and Chipper Jones
Mm.
would get into arguments. And I'm a Yankee fan, but he would go, Mike Piazza goes, I don't care. I don't call a grown man Chipper. So he would call him Larry.
Exactly. Yeah.
That little bit of pettiness, I'm here for that. I'm
Yeah.
here
Oh,
for
for
that.
sure. For sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree. Like, yeah, once you get to a certain age, you should not be chipper anymore. So,
exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Or Timmy,
Yeah.
Billy. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
certain
There's certain
names
names
that
that,
you have to outgrow.
yeah.
Only my mama calls me Billy.
And you're not going to argue with Mama Hines.
Yeah.
So,
No,
no
I'm
way.
not.
No way.
No, no, nobody does.
Now, speaking of moms and everything, is your birthday January 31st?
Yes, it is. I'm an Aquarius, and I like long walks by the sea.
Me
His
too.
birthday's January 31st also.
Really
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
nice. Like
Yeah.
actually, a father of so Gavin Harlan races with me in Stadium Super Trucks. His dad is January 31st. A former race car driver, Scotty Steele, was January 31st. So I say only legends are born on January 31st.
Very cool. I'll take it. No.
Nice. Happy
Yeah.
belated
Happy
birthday to
belated
my
Same.
birthday.
fellow
Yes.
Aquarian.
Aquarius. Yeah. So yeah, when we were because we went out to for my birthday. I'm not a big on celebrating it, so we went out and just did something we would normally do anyway. And yeah, this one the night we were actually emailing you back and forth and everything.
Oh yeah.
We're in
Okay.
line at In and Out waiting to get some burgers, and we're just talking
Oh,
to you in line
jealous.
and
Fucking
yeah,
love
and
In and Out.
oh yeah,
Hmm.
they're for some reason they're even better out here. Honestly, like they're better
Oh
than
really?
California and all that. Yeah, at least
Oh
she's a
okay.
Californian. She even
Yeah.
says that. So
Where are you guys at?
we're in Santan Valley, Arizona.
Oh,
So
you're in Arizona. Okay, yeah.
yeah,
Kind
we're
of central Arizona.
yeah, we met in California, and then she moved out here with me because I was born and raised out here, and just I couldn't do California for very long. Just
I tell Gracie to move out of California
yeah,
all the time.
yeah,
It's
born and
horrible.
raised here. It's like that is just so backwards there from here. I'm like, it's just next door, and how's it this backwards? I can't do this
Yeah.
anymore. So I was like, we
I
got
thought
to
you were
get
gonna
out of
say
here.
I thought you were gonna say Texas because there's an In and Out burger right outside Texas Motor Speedway. So anytime we race there, it's like In and Out. It's like,
Nice. Oh yeah, that's the way to do it. Yeah.
yeah,
And yeah, so yeah, we shared the same birthday. That was really cool that
nice.
we were talking, and I didn't want to say anything because we saw it on Wikipedia, and I take that at face value a lot of times. I'm like,
Don't believe my Wikipedia.
no, we just
Good
yeah,
stuff, good. Bad stuff, bad.
yeah,
It's like-
yeah. So we try not to do it too often, but sometimes we do it just for references, and sometimes the years are wrong and stuff like that. But luckily, we've
no,
been
that's right. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
we've had people go, no, no, it's actually this year. I'm like, okay, cool. We did as much research as we could and correct us if we're wrong, like, any of that stuff. So, but so where are you from and where are you based out of now?
I'm from a little town uh, called Nazareth. where Jesus was born, not the one in Israel. No, that's where I'm from. And so I'm from, that's where my home is, Nazareth.
Okay.
But I'm in York all the time as well. Well, that's where I'm from now. But I was born in New Jersey, a town called New Brunswick, New Jersey,
Okay.
at St. Peter's Hospital. But quickly, I think we lived in Spotswood, New Jersey, for just like a few years, and then we moved to beautiful Irvington, New Jersey, and then Newark, New Jersey, and then Hillside, New Jersey. So if you're in that area, like each one is its own separate shithole. So,
Fair
but
enough.
it's my shithole. So, it's like when I see people say, "Oh, well, York is shit town," because of
Yeah,
the
yeah,
band with the
yeah,
song. I was like, you haven't seen shit town. Go to Newark, New Jersey. So it's funny. So, but if you're from there, you can say that, and you can
yeah.
proudly
Oh
walk
yeah,
down there. And it's like, oh yeah, this is our shithole.
yeah.
So,
That's same thing with where I'm from and where she's from and stuff like that. Even though I'll give her some shit too, because
He gives me crap all the time because I grew up outside of Bakersfield. If you've ever
oh
been to
okay,
Bakersfield, yeah,
yeah. I think my brother lived out there, like
yeah.
Bakersfield, and then Adelanto and
Hmm.
Rancho Cucamonga. Like he's been all throughout like California there. So
The
one of
big
them anyways.
raceway out there outside of Bakersfield, Famosa
Yep.
Raceway.
Oh yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
that one. Yep. Nice.
I
Nice. You ever
spent a
go racing?
lot. Oh, I spent a lot of time out there. Well, when I was little, I lived in the San Joaquin Valley, and there was a big sand dune or sand rail
Oh,
track out there,
that's huge out there with the
and
UTVs and
loved
sand
that.
buggies and yeah.
It
Oh
was just
man,
all sand rails. So
yeah.
it was like Fred Gregory Racing was out there. Big Daddy Don Garlits was out there when I was little.
Oh, Don
Yeah.
Garlits,
Yeah.
legend.
Yep.
Yeah,
yeah.
she's going old school.
Yeah, so we
Hmm.
got the Bondurant here, which was cool. To go on a little racing thing, I was actually watching the three Eleanors driving at Bondurant when I was
Oh, really?
in high school. Yeah, I was out because I went to high school not too far from Bondurant out in Chandler, and
Okay.
just was driving by it one day and I just saw these three gray and black cars, and then 2 years later found out it
Gone
was
in 60
Nick Cage
seconds.
and Angelina Jolie and all them learning how to race the cars at Bondurant. It's like holy shit! I was driving by when that was going on. That's crazy.
Oh, and for that movie that
For
were
Gone in
Gone in
60
60
Sec,
Seconds.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah, it
That's a good
was,
movie. Yeah.
yeah, but I had no idea at the time until the movie came out. I'm like, holy shit, that's awesome. So yeah,
Eleanor.
yeah,
Eleanor.
yeah. So that was cool
Yeah.
too, having that. So, so you were in the military, correct?
Yes, I was.
Thank you
Thank you for
for
your
yes, thank
service.
you so much for
You're
your
well,
service.
proudly.
Yes, yes,
Despite despite the reports on people, like it even just came up recently in a deposition. The one guy we were deposing, because I'm suing a few people, and the guy's like, "Oh, you know, I don't know how like they were commenting about me and they said something like, "Oh yeah, and he's twice dishonorably discharged." I'm like, "What the hell are you talking about?" Like I'm actually a disabled veteran, and then I went into my wallet and I'm I'm the plaintiff, so I got the lawyers there and it's on Zoom because the guy was out in California. And the funny part is, it's like, you're not supposed to talk. But I was like, you know what? You could say whatever the hell you want about me, but that's one thing I'm not going to let you do. And I was like, here's my damn ID. I'm disabled vet. I'm honorably discharged. I have VA healthcare for life. So like, say anything else you want, but that's one thing I'll fight you over.
yeah, yeah. No, for sure,
So
as you
yeah,
should. Yeah, absolutely, as you should. So you fought for your country. You shouldn't have to put up with that shit.
Yep.
So
and I actually did fight because I was in,
yeah.
we were in Operation Just Cause when we got Noriega,
Mm.
and we always it was like, how they say what's the difference in like punctuation. So
Yeah.
it was like it was called Operation Just Cause, and we
Mhm.
would go just we put because like it just at that
Yeah.
time we just wanted to do it. It's not like it was a just and noble cause. So.
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
like, well, just because,
yeah,
it's like, and
for
then
sure.
obviously Desert Shield, Desert Storm.
Mhm.
I have like plaques and different awards up there, and probably get up and get one of them because there's some funny stories, and so I got like proof where like a guy in a Panamanian Defense Force soldier, so they're called Panamanian National Police, and there was the PDF. So when Noriega was ruling, the military was called the Panamanian Defense Force. Like they were his like main um like Republican Guard type of thing, almost they called him. And
Okay.
once he got out of power, then pretty much like, they ripped off their patches and put Panamanian, they were rebranded Panamanian National Police. And then people were like, all right, I recognize him. Like, yeah, you're the same asshole that was shaking me down, extorting me. And, because they would go collect like they were the mafia down there, and they were. And the head mafia guy was Noriega. So, uh, one time I saved this guy's life, and he's like ripped off the patch and he handed it to me as like a gesture. And then he asked for my boots, because they always, no matter where you are as a soldier in the world, they'll like, people will come up to you and they want your boots. I mean, shit, they'll take your underwear if they want to. So I'll get up in a minute. I'll show you that patch. It's kind of funny.
Nice, nice. And
Very
what?
cool.
Oh yeah, what branch were you in?
I was in the army, and I was
Army. Okay.
at that time back then. I went to Fort McClellan. That base is one of the bases they shut down a long time ago. So I was a military police officer. So I did,
Oh,
it's
wow.
called OSUT, one station unit training. So you do like your basic training, and then you do your um, uh, AIT. It's called, all in one. But literally, like after my junior year in high school, I
Hmm.
went to basic training. Like that summer, everyone else was like, probably getting laid and having fun. And then I was like getting smoked by a drill sergeant. And then went back the senior year, did all that. And then, you know, um, it's funny. So like uh, during like winter break of my senior year, I was down in Panama. That's for the just cause. I was like, what the fuck am I doing here? It's like I gotta go to high school. Like, so we were there for a couple weeks there, and then came back, then finished high school, graduated, and literally like 2 days after graduation, I'm back in Fort McClellan, Alabama, finishing up my AIT. And initially, I was supposed to be a reservist,
Hmm.
and just like hang out there. And but then Desert Shield happened, so the reserve unit that I was part of while I was in finishing up my basic training, my OSUT is called, the at Fort McClellan, they got activated. So literally, like I didn't get. This is how I graduated MP school. They handed me my diploma and said, "Now go. You got a flight to Texas to
Wow.
meet up with the unit that got activated." And then I was part of it's called the 1302nd PSD, Port Security Detachment. So we went all over the world, like guarding ports.
Wow.
But like, so when I say all over the world, I'll be like Beaumont, Texas, Jacksonville, Florida, Sunny Point, North Carolina, Bayonne, New Jersey. I was like, what the hell am I doing here? Bayonne was awesome because I was like 10 miles from my mom. So I was getting home cooked meals, but the government was paying me a per diem. So I was like
Nice.
cashing in
Nice.
there. And then,
Nice.
but then King Abdulaziz Port in Saudi Arabia. It's like, what the fuck am I doing here? It's like I'm walking for 12 hours. I didn't see one person every day. Like
Wow.
sometimes just walking on a port with these cranes. And so I was like, fuck it. I started doing like crazy shit. Like I would climb up to the top of the crane, right? And then like somehow I was doing like an early version of parkour. Like people were like, what the fuck are you doing? I was like, so like to keep the branding going of the thrill. So
Yeah,
and
for
that
sure.
started back when I was in Little League baseball. So I just okay. Like that's not self. I didn't give my name. I didn't give that self my name. That would be douchey. So anyway. So yeah,
Perfect.
that's my military story. I have tons of stories about the military. So and yeah, that's what it was. I was a military police officer, and it was in some form of the military for a good part of 10 years, from so like
Wow.
1989. Actually, it was February. I went to MEPS, it's Military Entrance Processing Station, in February 14th of 1989. And they had some paperwork issues, and then so I was always joking. I was like, oh, great. I'm going to have a love affair with the military because that's where I'm swearing in. But they couldn't swear me in until February 15th. So February 15th would be, 1989 is when I was like, I'm fucking crazy. So
So pretty much we're on the anniversary right now.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
crazy. Yeah.
tomorrow. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I would have been there today. Like, and we stayed in a hotel in East Orange, New Jersey. And it was a shithole. I think it's a crack whorehouse now, something like that. It's
Sounds like a
like
lot of places in Phoenix. So
exactly. Nah, Phoenix is good. I like the Phoenix and Scottsdale area.
Scottsdale's really
Scottsdale's
nice.
nice.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
There's
Scottsdale's awesome.
Sedona. We were just up north, actually, in Sedona, Flagstaff, and all that. And I don't know if
Oh,
there's
really?
anything better than that. Cottonwood and all that is
Oh,
it's
nice.
gorgeous up
Yeah.
there. Yeah,
When I go there and visit friends, I'll be like, all right, I got to go make it a point to go hike Camelback Mountain. So
yeah.
Yeah.
That's
die up there.
fun. Well, if you
Got to
ever
go
get a
early.
yeah, if you ever get a chance, go up north too. There's some beautiful places, some
Yeah.
great wineries up there, like
I don't
fantastic
drink.
wineries.
No.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair
Yeah.
enough.
No, look, I had a sip of beer when I was 18 in the military in Beaumont, Texas, interestingly enough, at the Holiday Inn Express in Baytown, Texas. Okay. And I don't even know if it's there anymore. But yeah, we were guarding a port in LaPorte, Texas, and then there was this tunnel. I don't even think the tunnel's there anymore. We would now there's a bridge that we're building at that time. Back again, this is 1990-ish, right? And yeah, somebody gave me a Coors Light, and it was warm. I didn't know any other. Here, try this, right? Like in the military, they would drink anything, they would eat
Yeah,
anything. I took it, I drank it, and I spit. Like I took a sip of it, and I spit it out right away. And I was like, I don't know what piss tastes like, but that's probably it.
fair enough.
So it's like
We'll
fucking
update
disgusting.
your we'll update your Wikipedia that says he does not drink. So,
Yeah, no, well, yeah, actually, it's funny if you're quoted on a podcast or something like that, they can and you can tie to that. You can reference the transcript or the audio and say per this statement because it
yeah,
becomes an official record. So
yeah.
it's kind of funny.
I was more
So
or
we
less
should
just
do
kidding,
that.
but yeah, we should. But
We
yeah,
should have put it on Drumming Up Conversation podcast. This is
this is a
set the record
reference. Yeah.
straight. He was honorably discharged. Check. He doesn't drink. Thinks it tastes like piss. Further finds out it does taste like piss. So
Specifically
that's
said Coors Light tastes like piss. So, we
yeah,
make sure
yeah.
they might even sponsor us by saying that. Who knows? Everyone's backwards now with sponsors.
Well, only if you defend them, but like
Yeah.
they might defame me for that. Like, no, it doesn't. That's like I can confirm
Yeah.
that it
Yeah.
does.
And I was a
So,
kid that was ready to drink it. I did not like it then. So, yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
Everyone's like, it's an acquired taste. I'm like, if I want to have to acquire it, then I don't
Yeah.
want it in my
No,
life. I'm weird. So
I get
I
that.
grew
now,
up in a little farming town and we hit the orchards and it was always Coors Light.
oh really?
Always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Matt Gracie, who's cousin of Chad Gracie, he's the brother-in-law of Chad Taylor. Okay. He loved Coors Light. On tour, he could drink. I mean, shit, he could put down a case, and it wouldn't
Jeez.
even affect him. It's like functioning drunk or whatever. I don't even know if he was drunk. He would call it his working water.
Working.
Oh man, just have it there, drink it throughout the night, and literally other people would be smashed off of like 2, 3 drinks, and this guy's went through a case of beer or whatever, and still fucking like building drum risers and tearing that shit down and throwing everything in the tour truck. You know how it is being a musician.
Oh,
That
yeah.
shit's
Oh,
not
yeah.
easy. Like, and
No.
that fucking dude's a beast. So anyway, oh puppy, I got 4 dogs.
She is a puppy.
Nice.
She
She,
gets antsy when as soon as we start recording.
what's her name?
Grenache.
Grenache. Hey girl.
I don't know if she can hear you.
Oh no. Okay.
She's only 8 months old.
Hey puppy. Wow.
Yeah. She's gonna be big. Hey, come on.
I'm
She
mad
does
at my
this every
dogs
time.
today. My dogs broke into the kitchen because we had gates, and then one of my daughters had like a garbage bag, just like they took it out of the garbage, which is like inside a cabin, and left it out, and then they went like up to their bedroom. They were only gone like she's like, Dad, it was gone 10 minutes. The fucking it was.
Oh.
I took a picture of it. I was like, I'm not cleaning this.
Yeah, she's so far she doesn't care about trash. She has plenty of toys and she'll just play with those all day, which is
I
great.
don't know if you could see that.
Oh
Yep.
my
They
God.
fucking went through like a
That's when I would
hurricane
just come in the house and
like
turn around and
Christmas
just leave. I'm like,
vacation.
I'm not coming back till that's cleaned up.
Yeah, like I'm not fucking doing that shit, right? So it's funny. I think my ex-wife came over. She doesn't live too far from me, and she was borrowing one of my daughter's car because she hit a pothole and um, bursted her tire. So that's at the shop getting a new tire. And she came over, so she helped my one daughter, and then it's like, oh, she's mad at me. It's like, Mom's mad at you for not cleaning. I was like, the fuck? I didn't make that mess. So I'm a firm believer in that.
Yes. Oh, yeah, me too. Yeah, if I didn't make the mess, I'm not cleaning it up. And if
Oh
I'm not
yeah.
responsible for it either, I'm not the one that
Yeah.
left the trash out. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I haven't been home in since Tuesday. So it's like I've been in New York from Tuesday to Friday morning. So what the fuck? It's like on my Wikipedia, it does not clean up the kitchen.
Only cleans up his messes.
Sometimes I don't even do that. I would always joke around. I would say they make people for that. So bad. I know.
It's all
Uh,
right. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, hey, that's what helps the economy, right? Give everyone a job.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, exactly. It's like,
Yeah.
well, as even like, so yeah, obviously I don't just race, but I'm an entrepreneur. I hate that word though. I might say I'm more of a,
I don't like saying it, but I just didn't know what else,
yeah,
how else. I'm like,
fucking hate. Yeah.
I was
No,
gonna
no, I
rattle
get it.
off all your businesses. I'm like, it's just easier to say that,
Yeah, and
but
you'll still never get them all. So
yeah,
there's so
yeah,
many, but yeah, even for that, it's just like, I just, you know, if I'm cleaning toilets, then as a company we failed, and it's not a knock against people who clean toilets, is that's not my skill set,
yeah,
um, same thing. If I'm, wiping someone's ass, it could be literally speaking or figuratively speaking, then we're failing as a company, and I failed my job. Like I shouldn't be doing that. Like I don't want to run the day-to-day operations. That's not. I'm like a visionary. I come up with ideas. I come up with pretty good ideas, and
yeah,
then we try to hire teams to execute them. And then sometimes you hit the nail on the head and you find really good, talented people. And then there's other times where you don't find people that understand the vision. They're stuck in the status quo, or like this is how the industry is done. Meanwhile, when you're trying to change industry and you're trying to make change, like kind of like Steve Jobs was doing, and people are like, "Oh, you're going to compare yourself to Steve Jobs?" Damn fucking right I am. Okay, and I'm not comparing my bank account to him. Okay, but I'm comparing the execution, the drive, the tenacity, the vision. Okay. Cause look what happened to Steve Jobs before Steve Jobs was Steve Jobs. Like, yeah, he was Steve Jobs, but he wasn't that Steve Jobs. Okay. He
hmm
Right.
wasn't turtleneck, black shirt Steve Jobs. He was a guy that basically, his company got stolen from him because they thought that a marketing guy from Pepsi could know how to understand and sell computers. And that was the furthest thing from the truth. And then they were like, oh shit, we have to bring him back. So in my situation, very similar situation happened to me with, a company that I owned. Won't name it, but you know, their ego probably didn't allow them to say, well, what the fuck do we do next? Like what can we do next? And I was like, well, I know what we could do next. And it's funny, the company that bought them is doing exactly what my plan was from, I'm talking like 2009, 2010 when I dreamed up the idea. So it's fun and they're bragging about it. It's like this is the greatest acquisition in the last 10 years for us, and we're going to be building data centers. We're going to be building all this other stuff. And I'm just like, Jesus fucking Christ, that's the exact plan that I want to do. But people get in their heads and they don't understand. And instead of sitting down with you and talking to you about like what is possible, they just want to shit on your ideas and say, well, that's not how it works. Or, oh, so and so was an industry expert. And it's like, but was he really? But was he really? Did we test that? Did we go and vet him? And, it turns out like when you do that, not that there's anything else, but you have a guy out there purporting to be like an industry expert and a uh, you know, college educated, and turns out like he didn't even finish one semester of college, like a total, like lied about everything. And, so it's like, okay, people are putting their belief in that because they don't like how someone like me talk to them because I'm not eloquent, as you can tell. I'm not going to use the big fancy Harvard words.
yeah,
My dad didn't have a lot of money and pay for me to get into Harvard because that was my only option because, like, hey, I got to pay for my son to get into Harvard because he's a fucking loser, and I don't know any other way. And hopefully he does something with his life. But, that wasn't me. I had to work for everything I had. And yeah, so That's that.
Yeah,
Sorry for the ramble.
no, you're
No,
good.
no.
I'm the same way. I like to hear it straight and I like to tell it straight. That's just
Mhm.
the way I am, and that's the way I was raised, and that's the way my dad talked. It's like I'm not g- I'm wasting time trying to explain something when I can just be straightforward about it. So, the one commodity you can't get back is time, and I don't want to waste anybody's. That's my thing. So,
Oh, I'm the same way. And I heard a quote a long time ago, and they said, "I'm not Willy Wonka. I don't sugarcoat shit."
yeah.
So if you want that, then people are like, oh, he's brash, he's abrasive, he's. One person said I was abrasive like sandpaper, and I was like, thank you.
Yeah.
It's like
Sandpaper gets the
uh,
job done.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, sometimes, yeah, what grit, right?
yeah.
But yeah, it's like if like to say someone comes in to sell something, whether it's be like architectural services or product or something like that, I'm like, listen, I don't want the sales pitch. We don't need to be here for 30 minutes. I probably know more about your product than you are. Just give me the price.
Yeah.
And I want,
Yeah.
it's like I don't want the whole dog and pony show. And people are taken aback by that, and they're like, "Well, shit!" Like, and that's also can be used to your advantage too. You can take them off their script.
Yeah. Yeah, for
Like,
sure.
don't
Yeah.
sell me. Okay. If your
Yeah.
product is good or you're good, and that goes for people too. Like if you're a good person or something, like the person, the product, the thing sells itself
For sure.
by being
Yeah.
genuine, by being genuine. Yeah.
Yeah. If we didn't already believe in your product, you probably wouldn't be here right now. So,
And
yeah,
you guys are married or just happily unmarried?
we're married.
Okay.
Married.
Yeah. Yeah.
How like Gene Simmons would say, I'm happily unmarried when before they were. So example, when you guys first met each other, you kind of had to sell yourself to each other. Like, is this the one?
Yeah. Yeah.
And oftentimes when one partner or the other sells themselves to the other, it's very quickly in that relationship that's apparent that was like a fucking sales job. And they're like, well, fuck. And that's why you guys are still together and other people get divorced because you were just like, this is like, you probably knew who he was the minute, like, you're like, all right,
Well,
he's pretty open.
yeah. Well, we both had come out of really horrible relationships.
Yeah.
So when we met, it was just
Oh,
like,
I don't know anything about that.
I don't want any bullshit. I don't want you to ever lie to me. If
Yeah.
there's ever some feelings you have for someone else, just tell me straight.
Yeah.
Shake hands, part, you know.
I wouldn't even shake the hands. Yeah. You're too
Uh,
nice. Yeah.
but yeah,
Smack them on their butt and have them go away, right?
just honesty.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, and it
Just
was a mutual friend that introduced us. We didn't want to meet. We're like, I'm just not ready, and she wasn't ready, and kind of circumstances brought us together, and we were just straight up and honest, and we had similarities, so it wasn't much of even selling to each other because we love the same music and we like to do the same things and everything. So it was just more or less just spending a lot of time together and just having that
Being
relationship.
friends first.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Building
yeah.
that foundation. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
important
So,
for
I
any
mean, and
relationship.
we put ourselves against people that have been married 20, 30 years and we blow them away with the knowledge of each other. Like match game, we would just, match everything, or like the newlywed game or whatever. Like we would crush anybody because we know so much about each other. So,
That's awesome.
yeah,
That's
And
awesome.
just if I'm being a bitch, he tells me I'm being a bitch, or he'll
same
tell
with
me
me.
I'm being cunty.
That's
You know?
going to Australia a lot. They love that word, by the way,
Yes,
Yeah,
cunt.
yeah,
yes, yeah.
But
yeah.
it's a term of endearment. It'd be like, I got a good friend, Paul Morris, down there, and he's like, oh, I see that bird, Bill. The bird is female. He's like, she's a
Yeah.
good cunt. And then when like he says that about someone and they hear it, they're within earshot, they light up and
That's
smile and beam, and they're like, oh, he called me a good cunt. And here I'm like, America, you'd get fucking stabbed.
Yeah.
You're like, it's like,
Oh yeah, speaking of going to court, there you go. So, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah,
Too
just
soon.
a couple nights ago, he said something to me, and I'm like, "You're being a jerk." And he's like,
Yeah.
"I'm not
And he
being a
goes,
jerk." I'm like, "No, you're being a jerk, kind of like a dick."
Yeah.
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 he's like, I know I like to drum. Wayne's World.
But
Remember that? Yeah.
Oh
yeah,
yeah. Oh yeah.
we call each other out and put each other in
Yeah.
our place.
That's important too, We
I
don't
think it's
like
important too. It's like if you wake up on the wrong side of the bed, so to speak, and you're just not in a good mood and say, hey, listen, I'm not in a good mood today.
yeah.
Like let's normalize that and not being like, hey, I apologize. I'm being I was a bitch to you. Just like, hey, because then it's like you're putting up the flag and you're
Yeah.
saying, hey, I'm in a fucking really bad mood. And you know, enter at your own risk.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
if you're
Yeah,
coming
'cause
inside and you're poking,
yeah. That, and I've told it there's been days I'm like I'm in a fog today. Just bear with me. Like
yeah,
I'll fight it as much as I can, but just if I snap at something stupid, just know that I'm just having one of those days.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Early on, I would ask him questions about the relationship he came out of. And
Ooh, not a good idea.
early on, he would just snap back at me and tell me, "It's none of your fucking business." Like, okay.
I honestly, I agree with him. Not to side with him. It's
Yeah.
like leave that past in the past, as long as the person doesn't bring the past into the future, into the new relationship. It's like, I think it's like, I've had girls be like, well, how many people, how many bodies do you have? Or how many, and I'm thinking like, from what, Desert Storm? Like how many, like that? Or you like, no, like, it's like, I don't know. Like, I don't know, he'll tell you he's a guy. It's
I call it my sleep number.
like if you're a guy and you're counting, you're stupid. 'Cause, like girls count, I get that, but like guys, we like if you're a dude, like if you're a
Yeah.
man's man, you're not counting like the women you've been with, you know?
Yeah. I
So
mean I have an idea, but yeah, I don't have like an exact
yeah, like you
count.
could ballpark it, but
Yeah.
like if I say like start naming them off, you're probably like forget.
Well, she'll tell
Don't
you I
do
don't
it.
remember some of their names, and she
Yeah.
can't believe it. Now we just watched How I Met Your Mother, and she's been comparing me to Barney Stinson a lot
Nice.
recently.
Yeah.
I'm like, shit, why did we watch this?
Oh,
Because
I
she's like,
literally ran into women that I've slept with and I forgot. And they're like, "Hey, how's it going?" I'm like, "Yeah, hey, do I know you?" They're like, "Really?" Like, "Yeah, you're
yeah,
the girl that made me sleep in the spare room."
So
Yeah.
sometimes when we're grocery shopping, we'll pass women with kids, and I'm like, that kid's looking at you like you're its dad.
Dada. Yeah. Kind of like how the dog was looking at you guys. Mom and dad, let's doing a podcast.
she'll give me shit. Yeah, a kid will just come up and like talk to me, and she's like, he thinks he's your dad. I'm like, shut up. I don't have kids. She's like that you know
That
of. I'm
you
like,
know.
fuck, I
Well, that's
don't.
why it's funny. So I like a couple of my family members, and we had like my mom do the DNA test, like whatever one's out there, 23andMe or um, what's the other one? I forget the
Ancestry.
ancestry. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like my mom and my aunt, they've always claimed to be 100% Italian. So like the thing around like Thanksgiving or Christmas tables, like nobody's 100%. Like that's bullshit. Like why should you only be like 50%? And my aunt would get like crazy. Right? So like fuck you. I don't need a test to tell me who I am. So my mom, we like got my mom to do it. My mom was like, whatever, I'll do it. And I'm not shitting you. It came back like 98.9%. My mom was Italian, right?
Damn.
So it was like, that's fucking, I'm like, holy shit. And then the other stuff was like, just like Northern European or Italian. Like it was probably also Italy, but from that region, like from the area and like a little
Right.
bit of Sicily.
Italy then, not Italy now, kind of a thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So it
Yeah.
was like, okay. And and I always say like I'm sure there's some Neanderthal in there because my mom would beat your ass. She wasn't like happy with you. So sure enough, it was that. But like, I did the test and then when I get those emails, I like ding, like you have a new alert from 23andMe. And I'm like, oh. Like you open it, like, do I want to read this? Because one time I had like a second cousin come in and they're like, hey, do you know this person? And I was like, yeah, that was my uncle. It's like, okay, he was my father. And I was like, oh
Oh
shit, nobody
shit.
in your. So
Yeah.
like me, I'm just like, I introduced her to his kids.
Oh
They
wow.
were like, they were like, fuck that whore. She probably wants to jump in on the inheritance. We don't believe it. And I was like, the DNA is not lying. And
Yeah.
the sweetest lady ever. Like she didn't want anything to do with them. She's just like, hey, I want to know like more about who my father was.
Yeah.
Right.
And then the one daughter goes, your father was a whore. I was like, yeah, no shit. Like I can live with that. My dad was laying pipe, that's why I'm here. It's like whatever.
That's kind of
Oh
how it
man.
works. Yeah. Huh.
Yeah, but even just to be so territorial, like me, I would have been like, "Oh, that's cool. I got like somebody out there that's family I didn't know about." That, and that doesn't mean you have
Yeah.
to be. family. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
I would still keep your
Yeah.
guard up, but don't, yeah, don't
Yeah.
maybe maybe they do just want to learn about something that they've had questions for their whole life. So, but then again,
Everyone's
I've heard horror stories too where like some people have been like their dad murdered someone and they were like put on this. You told me that story about someone
Oh,
was
I think it was one of the serial killers in California.
okay.
And he got traced back to one of the kids that took a DNA test.
oh shit. Okay.
Yeah.
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 So there's that
It's
side
like
of it too.
whoops.
Yeah.
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 They
Well,
came
you
that
know,
much closer
everyone's
to, yeah.
everyone's looking for their own happiness and everyone's looking for their own closure
Yeah.
or, even opening into something new. So like, it's great, but like you and as a person, like you don't have to give that to that person. That's on them. But if you can give that to that person
Yeah.
and then say, okay, this is I'm giving you, and now I got to go move on with my life. Like, hey, great, my dad had another kid, but I don't want to be like I'm fine over here. Now I'm not speaking about me. I don't have my dad. Oh, that I know about. Whatever, Like, actually, no, my dad did have other kids, but they never tried to even attempt to contact me. So, yeah.
Nice.
So there's actually another. He had a girlfriend the same time he was married to my mom, and him and his girlfriend had a kid. They named it William. I shit you not. It's fucking hilarious.
How close in age are you? Do you know?
Like 3 years, I
Oh
think.
wow.
Shit.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
That's crazy.
So yeah, I wouldn't have any like. I don't care how nice the guy is. Like it's just like you want. I'm this old already. I don't need new friends. So
Yeah, I
it's
get
like,
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
I
get
think
that.
I'd be the same.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for
Someone
sure.
came knocking on the door and like, yeah, okay.
it's like, what are you
Well,
selling?
we've met and now that's done.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, "Whoop." So, all right. Anything else?
Yeah, we got a ton of
Grill
stuff.
me. Yeah, you grill me.
I
Yeah,
just yeah, we so we're gonna
I hate
want
talking about family.
to. Are you comfortable talking about some of your business ventures? And if we bring up the name that you didn't say earlier, I apologize. Now
You
we
can
don't
bring
know
up
which
no,
one it
you
was.
can bring up anything. So
Okay.
yeah, yeah. I've talked.
First, I guess we'll start off. Did you go to college at all?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Okay. Where did you go?
Well, I was in the military
Okay.
and basically went through like different classes at different universities from like the education center. So it's
Okay.
like you might be taking a class at like your local community college, like Union County College or something like that. But that's pretty much it. Things
Okay.
like that, and it was hard to do because you're in the military, and then you got to take a class here and to take like take a class there, and it's like it's almost impossible to complete.
Yeah.
And um, the the one thing too is like initially, like I said, back when I wanted to, when I was just signing up for the military, I told you I was just wanted to be a reservist, right? And then just so I can get like the GI Bill and all that stuff, but I was activated, so then I just stayed in. That like literally I had signed up to the local community college, like, and that was like Union County College, and what you know, literally thought I was going to attend there, graduate, and attend, and they're like, nope, sorry, you got to fly to Texas. Your unit got activated. And it's like, well, shit. And so you defer that, and you took a couple classes there, um, and then it's like, okay, well, this sucks, and then like go back to the military and then take classes like just at the different education center. So like if you're in an education center in the military, you might be sitting down taking a class from somebody like a professor, but the person next to you might be enrolled in like Arizona State, and I'm at the local community college and this person's there, and because they take care of all that, and then they kind of be like, okay, you're on base taking these classes, but then this person's accredited over here or that person's over there. So and it's hard. Anybody that actually goes through and gets their degree, and um some people get masters, like that's pretty impressive if they're doing it in the military. It's fucking really impressive.
Yeah, I can
So
imagine. And was business kind of what you wanted to do when you're done with the
I
military?
well
I mean,
no.
it's a broad. I mean, business is a
No.
broad
No, it's just honestly like growing up. I mean, shit, I wanted to be a baseball player, and
Okay.
I was really good at it.
Okay.
And shit, I played baseball until probably 2016 or 17.
Wow.
And I was on
Nice.
like a semi-pro team, and I was a player manager on it. So I was and I did that since shit forever. And my team traveled all over the country, and we were good. Like we kicked everyone's ass. Like there's
Nice.
years we went undefeated. It's
Very
like
cool.
that's unheard of in baseball.
Yeah.
We and shit. We would go to the World Series of our league. We would go to Arizona and
Oh,
play at
okay.
Peoria Stadium, and
Yeah.
Okay.
the like where all of the Cactus League
Hmm.
spring training games are. We'd be doing that for 2 weeks, and we'd come out and emerge as champions. And I got rings. They're just like World Series rings, like
That's
fake
really cool.
diamonds in them, but it's like they make them look good, like the
Yeah.
cubic zirconia, but it says World Champ on it, and you were the best at that. And
Nice.
and a lot of former pro baseball players were on our teams, like or future pro baseball players. So our team had a mix of like really good players coming up and really good players coming down with their career. And then they're just like, you know what, I'm so competitive, I just don't want to give it up. And until you played baseball or really
Mhm.
watched it, and if you understand it, then you know why. It's like you're gonna hold on to you know
Yeah.
that
Uh,
as long as you can. Yeah,
yeah.
What position did you play?
I was a catcher. Yep.
Okay.
Oh
Oh
So
boy,
God.
God.
How hard is
which
that on the legs?
Shit. Well, that's funny. So like my last few years of playing baseball, like I would, and I obviously think about this though. I'm still running at the time or operating and on a board of like United Fiber and Data and Think Cloud Development and those. And I'd go into meetings like we would play on weekends and stuff like that. And sometimes a midweek game, like a Wednesday or Tuesday, and I'd go into meetings the next day. It's like my legs are hurting, my knees especially. So I remember even back when I was married, I'd be in bed and my ex-wife would be like, "Jesus fucking Christ, like stop that already," because like tossing and turning and like the knee pain was so bad you couldn't even sleep at night, and so I was just used to not getting sleep. So but then I stopped, and one day I was like thinking like, "Wow, my knee doesn't hurt anymore." So it's like I don't remember the actual day, but I just remember like, all right, I don't feel that anymore. So it kind of like healed itself. And I'm not one I'm sure I tore shit and broke stuff or whatever, but I never went to the doctor with it. I just played through the pain and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I think other than like maybe goalie and quarterback, it's probably the hardest position to play because there's just so much going on that you have to read very quickly because you got
Yeah.
to worry about the pitch that's coming in if it's what you wanted. You got to throw a runner out. You got to worry about
Yeah.
all that stuff. Yeah, it's so I always
That
consider
that
that
do-
one of
that
the.
dog's the boss of your house.
I know,
Yes.
I know.
Yeah.
She's
It's like,
sitting right on my headphones too. Come on, sweetie.
Yeah.
that's okay.
What are you doing?
Yeah. She's,
Okay,
she
it's gonna
gives
be
side eye to the, yeah.
Grenache.
there we go. Come on,
There you
sweetie.
go.
She's only 8 months old. We're
Yeah.
still
Yeah, she's the
trying to
star. There you
Yeah.
teach
go.
her things.
Are you shy? You hiding behind me? Huh?
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
so big into sports and and anything like in sports, I was always fairly good at everything. And like as I alluded to earlier, it's like when I was in little league and baseball, I had a flair for the dramatic. So whether it be making like a game-ending double play or, we were in a series and I was the catcher and we ran out of arms and I was like, well, I'll pitch the next game. And it's like, what? And I was like, I'm a catcher. I throw like every every throw that the pitcher makes, I'm throwing
don't know.
back. So
Yep.
it's like if the pitcher has 100 throws in that game, I have 100, maybe even more.
Yeah. And there's
Uh,
sometimes you're throwing 180 feet instead of just the 60 and 60 feet
yeah,
6 inches
exactly.
he is. So,
So,
yeah.
well, that's good. That's kind of that long toss will
Yeah.
help strengthen your arm even
Yes,
more. So like,
absolutely. Yeah.
so I
So
was decent at that. Like,
I played a lot of shortstop and center field. So yeah, I
yeah,
was because
I got
I
that.
had a really good arm too, like really, really good arm for
Yeah,
my size, especially because I learned very at a young age that it's footwork. It's how you set yourself to throw the ball. It's not necessarily all arm strength either. If you can set
yeah,
yourself, then that's probably
for sure.
60-70% of it is just setting your feet. So
hmm I think so. I would rather be accurate Like if I threw down the second, it was hitting
Hmm.
that bag. Like I hit
Hmm.
the bag all the time. Like so long distance accuracy. So I was like, how hard is it going to be? So like I'm accurate to the pitcher. I'm accurate. Like I throw strikes, but so it wasn't like blowing people away with like this hard and then like this one finger I had like slammed in a car door when I was a kid. So it was like it was curved. So naturally, anytime I threw a ball, it was really weird. It put movement on the ball. And like there's times where I would grip a ball and I'd throw it as a catcher. Like, you catch the ball as a catcher
Yeah.
and you just throw it back. You're not like as a pitcher, like, okay, I have to have it on the seams like this. I'm
Yeah.
gonna drop in a curveball or something. So just playing toss before a game or warming up, and then my ball would dip and move, and I'm like, shit, how did I hold that? Because like if I could have figured out how like I threw that,
Yeah.
like, that would have been devastating. It had so much movement on it, and it kind of reminded me of back in the day. I'm sure you knew a pitcher called Mariano Rivera.
Hmm.
Similar thing happened to him. He was just like 16, 17, 18 years old, something like that. He was just tossing a ball, and his ball moved, but he knew how he had the grip because he was a pitcher. So he was trying different grips. Like he was going through that, and he threw it that way, and that was the birth of his cutter, as you know it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And man, I remember it would randomly come out, and one guy was like, it hit him in the chest because he was like trying to catch it, and it just did this late break, and it moved, and it was like,
Jeez.
it's like throw that again. Oh shit! And I was like, I can't. I couldn't replicate it if I tried. But then random times it would come out, and it'd be like, there it is, like da da.
Yeah, I can throw a football wherever I want, but I was a little different with like pitching.
Yeah,
I could throw like as an infielder or an outfielder fine,
yeah,
but to just have that complete accuracy all the time, I just struggled with that a lot.
yeah.
But
Well,
I mean, I
yeah,
could still
like
get people out, but it was happy accidents a lot of the times too. Like I didn't intend it to go there. It just went there and he struck out on it. But yeah.
if I had to throw like hard all the time, then no, I'm not going to be accurate. But
Yeah.
like if I can back it down like 20, oh, hold on here, 20%, then that was like, that's easy. Like
Mm.
I could throw strikes all day. But if you're just throwing straight, you know, fastballs,
Yeah.
I
You're
call
gonna
them
get
cock shots.
you're gonna get lit up all day.
Yeah, if they know it's coming, it's like
Yeah. Oh, this is
so
all they
yeah.
can throw. Okay, I'm just gonna sit on
Yeah.
it then. Yep. Yeah.
So anyway, that long story short, that's how kind of like because my name's Bill, what goes with Bill, the thrill, like my little league teammates weren't too creative. Like they weren't like in a think tank, like, okay, what should Bill be? And the funny part was like my first year in little league, I was number 5. The second year I was 7. So then like
There you go.
I
Yeah.
hung the jerseys up in my house. So I had 5 and 7 next to each other. And then that's how 57 was born, because then all my friends would make fun of me saying, Hines 57 sauce, ha ha, catch up, blah, blah, blah. And so that's where that came. So some people think it's douchey, but I just think it's like, a nod. When I see that and it's on my race truck, it's to me, it's like a remembrance of even like my little league teams that we won championships with, the players and people that gave me that name.
Mhm.
Like literally if I'm in the race truck and I could hear the announcer like before a race, like St. Pete or Long Beach, and they say, oh, in the number 57, Bill Hines, I literally go back and think to like when the phrase was coined and then by the guys in the group and like goofing around, because then how sports are and the
Oh yeah.
camaraderie with it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, I
Same
don't
thing
really
with like
care what
band
people think.
too, music as well. Same,
Oh
that's
yeah.
locker room talk and all that stuff. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's kind of like where I'm at with that stuff. So
Mhm.
it's like, whatever.
Yeah.
And like I had a sponsor say, listen, we'll sponsor you. We'll give you like, it's like $50,000 a race. Right. And I was like, well, I can make good money off that. And they wanted me to change the number to like 76 or something like that. And I did it. I said, I'll do it for one race, but I'm not going to do it permanently, because they wanted the photos and the pictures. And I guess it was World Gym actually. And so they were founded in 1976 by Joe Gold of all people. So
Okay.
they gave me the story, like literally they're like, I'm like, fucking really? I don't care when you were founded. Like, no, really, it's a cool story. The Gold family, they had Gold's Gym and they sold it. And then Arnold Schwarzenegger, can't even say that. And then, and Lou Ferrigno went to Joe Gold and say, oh, it's the gym that, we used to love working out. Now it sucks. So you got to make a gym for like people who are serious like us. So then that's when he created World Gym. So anyway, that was that. So they came to me. I was like, "Hey, can you run number 76, and we'll just sponsor you for the whole year?" I was like, "I'll do one race at 76. Other than that." So that's like it just means too much to me.
Yeah,
So
I had that on here of, Hines 57, haha, that's just awesome. I mean, if you got to go with it, if you can do it. Because for one, people are
yeah.
going to remember it more. Who was driving 57? Oh, it was that Hines guy, and
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's really cool. So,
How did you get
Yep.
into racing?
Oh man. So honestly, it's literally was like my um just how much I love competition. And when I like just, I knew I couldn't play baseball forever, but I can sit my fat ass down in a car and race against other people. So I'd really just started out as like an amateur, just, hey, I'll go karting and I'll go like if you buy like a Mercedes AMG car, they kind of give you a free weekend or a free day or two at like a AMG Academy that they call it. So, it's not even race cars. It's like, hey, take one of our high performance cars, you're on the track and you're doing it. And excuse me, I started doing that a couple times after I'd buy a car and I would be on the track. Like, we'd go out to Laguna Seca in California, like Northern California, and COTA, Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. And we'd be driving these AMG cars on the track and they would have little, like, you wouldn't do a race. They're like, fuck no, we're not putting these people in a race. But you would go out and you'd race this way. You'd go out and do like 2 laps and whoever had the best average 2 laps won. Whoa, won. So they were like, that's how it would race. But you couldn't go out there with other people because, at that time, like all the amateurs, you'd kill yourself, and you'd
yeah,
wreck a $200,000 car
yeah,
and it's not a race car. Like literally, there's no like 5-point harness in there. It was just like a 3-point regular
yeah.
seat
No
belt.
roll cage, nothing like
No,
that.
you got the air conditioning going on, like, whatever.
Yeah,
So, and I was fast. And a lot of times they'll take you out with an instructor. And I was like on the instructor's ass and he's on the radio. I was like, back off. And I'm like, well, go faster. And he's like, no, we're limited to what we can take people. So I kind of knew there and then just had really good friends like in the racing industry. And the
but
person that kind of first put the bug in my ear was an IndyCar driver called EJ Vizo. He's a Venezuelan driver. He's like, Bill, you could do this. I've seen you freaking drive a rental car. He's like, I know you can do this. And my car control, interestingly enough, was really good. And I attribute that to driving in the icy roads of New Jersey, in even high school or, just from being there, driving a front wheel or rear wheel drive car. And you're like, hey, if you got to go somewhere, you got to get to work. Like, they can close shit down when I was a kid. Like if there were like, there were no 2-hour school delays, you fucking went to school, and you got there. So, I just had that car control
nice.
and it just translated. And, another friend of mine, Michael Andretti, he would be like, you're fucking crazy.
Yeah.
It's like, he's like, you're fucking stupid for doing that.
So you were already racing when you met him, or did he kind of help you get?
No, 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 no. I had known him before that.
Okay,
We're from the same town, like
okay,
Nazareth,
that's
Pennsylvania. Yeah.
I read that, but again Wikipedia, so I just didn't want to
Yeah.
assume. But
Oh no,
okay.
he was against it. My first race ever was 2014. My first
Mhm.
professional race was
Yes,
2014 in
that was
Toronto, and that
with
was the
Stadium Super Trucks,
Stadium
correct?
Super Trucks. Yeah, and so he was there because of IndyCar. He owns an IndyCar team.
Hmm.
He came up. There's a photo of it. I'll have to send it to you. And he's like, he
Cool.
drove up on his scooter and he's looking in the like the netting, and I'm about to go out. He's like, you could still not do this shit, man. He goes, it's fucking dangerous. He's like, don't do it. I was like, whatever. Like, you only live once, so
Yeah, for sure. And you've been doing that since then, correct? Like in
yep.
different way. Oh, with like
Well, yeah, no, I have the
EXR.
second most. Yeah, I have the second most starts of all time
Hmm.
in Stadium Super Trucks. It's an amazing series led by Robbie Gordon, who's
Hmm.
a NASCAR, IndyCar, off-road legend.
Hmm.
The pedigree of the Gordon family runs through him and his son Max, who now races as well. And yeah, the EXR series was it was a mid-jet car. It's a French car, four-cylinder car, makes good fuel, but so it's good for like long ass endurance races. You're not going to kill anyone with speed, but because you're going to pit less because your car is just making fuel mileage. So it's kind of like winning the slow way almost. But and then just other different sport cars, GT3 cars, GT4 cars, endurance racing. Like I really like the 6, 7, 8, 10, 12, 24, 25 hour races. And
Okay.
like those, that's where you have teammates and you could be in a
Yeah.
car for 3, 5, 8 hours. It's
Hmm.
really, it's just, that's, if you have that endurance, it's really good. It's really fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What's the fastest you've ever gone?
220. Yeah.
What does that feel like?
Um, Sketchy.
Yeah.
It's especially if it's in a car. So here's the thing: I've done that in a passenger car too.
Oh,
Like
okay.
I've hit not only on a racetrack, but actually a passenger car.
Wow.
Okay, and an AMG car. It was a SL65 Black Series, and that was it gets really light. There's not
Hmm.
like downforce, so your back gets loose, and then like you really can't. And I also did it in a Tesla S Plaid. Okay,
Okay.
and that thing's just a rocket ship and it's moving and the Tesla is just garbage. Like as far as like it's fast, but it's
Mhm.
as far as stopping and handling, it just starts like wobbling. And so you kind of almost have to in both scenarios, you literally have to lift gently off the throttle. Okay. And I said throttle because it's not a gas pedal in a Tesla, and let the car settle down a little bit before you're like applying on the brake. So if like you're on a if you're I don't suggest this for anyone. If you're on a public road and you're taking a Tesla or like a high performance car like an AMG or a, BMW M series car, and you're going even like 140-ish or more, 130 or more, and you think like, oh, okay, I see traffic coming up or I see cars, and you think you're gonna just like one guy announcer calls it like jump on the binders, like meaning
Mhm. Yeah.
jam on the brakes. You're probably going to crash. It's just going to spin on you.
Yeah.
You literally have to let the car settle down. Yeah,
That's funny. I've always naturally, whenever I drive fast, I naturally just let off the gas
yeah,
and
that's smart. You let the
that's
car settle
just
down.
instinct. Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah,
just something tells me like for one, I don't want to burn out the brakes if I don't have to, and two, it's like
yeah.
it's
And
gonna
some
be better for the
people,
car. Yeah.
when you're doing it in public, you don't know if like you come around a crest of a hill and there's like, oh
Yeah.
shit, there's a car down
Yeah.
there. You're
Yeah.
going to be toast. But
Yeah.
but in racing and other areas like when you go to Skip Barber, they have a thing. It's called CPR, correct pause resume. So even if you get an oh shit moment where you're like
Mhm.
you're on ice or hit water or you're hydroplane, like don't panic, don't do anything. Just you correct. So okay,
Mhm.
like I'm starting to slide this way. Correct a little bit. Pause. Don't be on the brake. Don't be on the throttle. Let the car settle down. It'll settle down, and then okay, I got my faculties about me. Then you resume. Often, two times people correct and they go to resume, and then that causes them into like a critical spin where they're
Yeah.
just going to crash and like
Yep.
really hurt themselves.
Yeah. Best thing is just not ever panic,
Yeah,
honestly.
it's hard to do. Like,
It is.
yeah,
Yeah.
I had
It's
somebody
easy to
cut
say
me
it. Yeah.
off, and I had my like, it's still even for me. Like, if I'm on a racetrack, like I never get into a situation where my heart's in my throat, and I've
Hmm.
been upside down before, and you knew the crash was going to happen, but you never
Yeah.
because you expect it. But if
Hmm.
you're just driving along in your car and like somebody almost T-bones you, or like you could be like, oh shit, like that was close because you weren't expecting it. So like even
Yeah.
recently, a couple of weeks ago, I had my heart in my throat, like fuck. And
Yeah.
it's funny. I was on the phone with Chad Gracie. And anytime I'm on the phone with Chad Gracie, something crazy happens to me when I'm driving. And I don't know, maybe I'm distracted, like, or whatever, but if you ever talk to him, he'll be like, yeah, it's fucking uncanny.
Okay.
And even
Yeah.
it to a point where his kids know it.
Okay.
Like his one daughter will be like, Bill probably should get off the phone with my dad because somebody's gonna probably try to wreck you. It's like,
Next time we talk to him, we'll bring that up for sure. Be like, hey man,
oh, he'll
stop
laugh.
stop calling Bill when he's driving, please. Wait till he gets home, please, because we don't need accidents. We like
Oh,
Bill.
usually
We
I'm
want to keep
calling
him
him.
alive. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I'm usually calling him bitching about someone. So that's the thing.
How did you and Chad meet?
through Chad Taylor actually. So and through kind of Michael Andretti type of thing, whereas like
Okay.
Michael was working on a video project, and we were talking. I was talking to a lawyer friend of mine, and I was like, "Yeah, we got to do this thing, a video. I don't know anything about that shit." And he's like, the lawyer goes, "Oh, why don't you talk to Chad Taylor?" I was like, "Who the fuck's that?" He goes, "The guy from Live." I'm like, "What the fuck's that?" Like I'm not a music guy, right? Everyone's like, "Oh, you're a fan of Live." I was like, "I can give a fuck, about music." Right? I really didn't care, and which is to some Live fans, you read the message boards like, oh, he's not even like a fan. He doesn't even care. Like he doesn't realize what position he's in. And I'm like, maybe they don't realize what position they're in with me, So I give it back. And I'm joking,
Yeah.
but people are like, look how
Oh,
cocky he is. I'm like, and I'm totally like just fucking with people, right? Like I don't take myself that seriously at all. And
yeah.
people who know me, like, know, like, yeah, he's not that douchey, So, because there are people out there who actually uh, are like that. They're
Yeah.
douchey like that. They're like they
Yeah.
think of themselves, but anyway.
They're
But
lucky
yeah,
to be
so
hanging out with me, Yeah.
exactly like fuck you. No, I'd rather be hanging out with my dog. Like like fuck this shit. And so we started working on this uh, like a pilot for a uh, reality TV show. I think it was like 2007 ish. So when we had that, when we started meeting and working on this podcast, the reality show, that's at the height of like all these reality shows like Flip This House and all that shit, going to Kardashians, um but so we were working on it. It was called Andretti Set Go, kind of like Ready Set Go. So,
Okay.
and one of my friends who was a cop in Yonkers, Pennsylvania, his name's Harry Nalbandian. He came up with the name, and I was like, "Fucking Harry, that's fucking awesome." And
That's
he's like,
cool.
"Oh yeah, I'll be able to retire." I was like, I don't think about it. No, no, you
Don't
won't go.
don't put the carriage before the
Yeah, yeah,
horse.
yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking great dude, right? And and I met Harry through a really good friend of mine who I was in the military with, was a guy named Joe Rizzullo, who also can confirm my honorably discharged. And that was a very, not only, I don't care what they would put on a piece of paper, but the fact that what your fellow soldiers think of you, and they're that like on the paper, the paper does say honorably, but the what your fellow soldiers would say about you,
Yeah.
and all my fellow soldiers would say that's a man with honor, okay, and integrity. So because I was of the troops and for the troops, and that to me, you know, that is better than what could ever be on a paper. Because like any of my friends who were my fellow soldiers call me, they know like if I say I got your back, you don't even need to turn around. I'm going to be there.
Yeah.
So long story, I got ADHD, guys. You're
You're good.
fucked.
You're
So
good.
do we. So do I, especially. I will jump all over
Like
the place.
we're all gonna be in the kitchen later cooking like doing a cooking show. Like how did we get here? You might be giving me drum lessons. Funny story. Like, yeah, asked me about the drum lesson Chad Gracie tried to give me one time. Anyway,
We
so
can get back to
through
that.
work, yeah, through working, it was fucking horrible. He like almost threw a stick at me. I don't think he's ever given another drum lesson since. It's
So
like
it was
shit.
like J.K. Simmons from Whiplash. Have you seen that movie?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
kind of. Yeah, that movie. I did. I
Chucked
actually
a
saw that
symbol at
movie
your.
Chuck a
before.
symbol.
Well, it was a stick, but it was, and you're in a fucked up situation when the guy throws a fucking his own autographed series line stick at you. It's like, okay, this ain't just like, it's like, it wasn't my trumpet teacher, it's fucking actually like he's got his own sticks. It's like, okay. Because I was like questioning him like what to do, but we'll get into that story.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
funny.
yeah.
So anyway, meeting him, I met him through Chad Taylor. So I met Chad Taylor first. Chad Gracie was out in California, and he was, he's like, oh, I got business partners and guys in the band, and literally like the lawyer that introduced us literally was doing what I do to people. Like when they say, "Oh, what's live?" and I said, I bring up like lightning crashes, and he had it on one of those iPods, like the little
Yeah.
iPod thing. He's like this. I was like, "Oh, I heard of that band." I was like, matter of fact, when I was like, off on leave one time, this girl who was like, crazy, like coming after me. Like that was so easy. Like when they come after you, oh, it's easy. It's so fucking easy. This is like great, but here's the thing: I fucked that up because she's like, "Hey, take me to Woodstock." In 90, I was like, "What's the fuck is that?" Again, not a music person. Like I'm sports, man. Like, hey, if there's a song on when I'm catching or playing a sport and it's on and it's fucking cool, like that's fine. But you hear like you don't hear the word, you just hear the beat and the music.
Yeah.
So that's why it's like I like the guitar and the drums. I'm not more of about lyrics and all that shit, right? Although later in life you get to that point, you
Yeah.
learn to appreciate more being around the people that I've been around, like the Lives of the World and Candlebox of the World and all that. So, um, that was so from that I just got introduced to Chad Gracie and then Patrick Dahlheimer and then that came about and then shit I even met Ed, and me and Ed were always cool. So like even when they broke up the first time, like I literally this guy Chris Zelenka, I was like, Chris, he's like, oh yeah, like Ed's playing at my casino and he was like the golf pro there, right?
Yeah.
So he gets me a front row fucking ticket and I bring this drunk girl there and she got so hammered and like she's falling on the stage. She's like calling him like Mike, like, yay, Mike, you're the best. He's singing, he's looking down at her like, what the fuck? The state police like rip her out of there. And she's like, I'm with him. I'm like, I never seen her for my life. And there's like these two other live fans were there and they were like, yeah, he's with us. And I was like, yes. It's like, I'm walking out of the casino. She's in the back of the cop car like this. And he's like, oh, never seen her again. So gonna track me down from this video like that dick. But yeah, that was all like
So read
2007,
the
2008.
Wikipedia and like that was it. That was the guy.
That was the guy. Yeah, like, good. Fuck him. Yeah. So it was. Where were we going with this? What was the question again?
How you met Chad Gracie?
Yeah, so that's how I met through Chad Gracie through Chad Taylor, and then just Chad. You know, I always liked how he moved, and I don't mean his dance move, like meaning like Chad is just a stand-up guy.
Hmm.
He's not going to lie for anyone. He's opinionated, but a lot of times his opinions come true.
Yeah.
He's a good father. He was a good husband to his wife. And he things happen, but and he's a good friend. So like if you need the shirt, if like he would give you the shirt off his back. It's not that cliche. Like he literally would. If he had an extra dollar, he'd probably give you 90 cents of it if you really needed it. Like he would like make sure his friends are taken care of. And
Well, we've
then
heard
like
that about you too from J Row and all that. So we've heard
they're
that about.
lying.
No,
You can't say
I don't
anything
buy
good
that.
about me. I'm just kidding. No, but like Chad, think about what Chad Gracie went through. Like
Hmm.
Chad Gracie,
Hmm.
like
What he's
his
still going
child.
through. I mean,
Well, yeah, but
he
his
even playing
this
his
is
own band. So
I'm not even talking about that part. I'm
yeah.
talking about like his childhood friends came to him and they were like, "Hey, like again, I'm not like I didn't know them in fifth grade and sixth grade. I wasn't from shit town, York, PA. Like I wasn't from that.
Mm.
They're like, hey, we all got to get together to bury this motherfucker, Bill Hines, because we think he's a bad guy. We think he's lying. We think he's a thief. We think he stole from all of us, right? Some fucking absurd number, right? And here, right? And so they did a 5 hour fucking Zoom meeting with Chad Gracie, right? And if you know Chad Gracie, like one, he's gonna be annoyed, like you got him on the phone fucking doing this shit. Like he's got better things to do than a 5 hour fucking Zoom meeting. So, I mean, Chad, instead of just like, okay, all right, let's go. He asked questions and they couldn't answer his questions. He's like, you can't even answer basic questions about a situation. So he dug deeper. And then Chad, as a man, sat me down. He's like, Bill, this is what they're saying about you. And I was like, oh, really? I literally handed him my laptop. Here you go. Go through the whole thing. What other questions you want to hear? And if you can, I'll log into something and show you. And so he asked the right questions. He got the right answers. And he knew, he's like, oh my God, they're asking me to lie about this guy to throw him in jail so they can steal a company.
Yeah.
If anyone thinks it had anything other to do than money for any of those companies, then they would be sadly mistaken. And here's the thing: it's like they were all my idea. Now, when I came up with the ideas of these companies, did I bring smart people in with me and we enhance it? Yeah, sure, that happened. Like I'm telling you right now, Chad Taylor was fucking brilliant in marketing and stuff like that. Like everyone's like, well, Bill's the racer, so Bill must have been the guy that brought the racing in. Fuck no, that was Chad Taylor.
Hmm.
Kind of like Gene Simmons did the same. Gene Simmons was like the head of marketing for IndyCar for fucking a while, right? Like
Huh.
as a consultant, not like he wasn't
Okay.
an employee coming with the lunch pail every day.
Yeah.
But yeah, like he created the phrase like "we are Indy" or some shit like that.
Hmm.
So it's like Chad Taylor loves racing, fucking loves racing, and shit. Like there's video of him racing in Australia. Like I hooked him up with my good friend Paul Morris out there, and they were on the track and everything else. And you know, him and Pat were in a car and they're like banging each other. And they got a concert like in 2 days. They're like, don't fucking the manager's freaking out. Like, what the fuck are you doing? And they're like fucking banging. It's fucking hilarious.
Nice.
And yeah, so where are we going again?
Well, I have a question though. How
Yeah, no problem.
scary was that in the position that they put you in and what they accused you of?
So it's a great question. Not scary at all.
Really?
And I'll tell, yeah, and I think, they picked the wrong guy because most people. So what happened was in the beginning, we got a letter, and the letter was addressed to Chad, Pat, and me, and it says, "Hey, we think you guys are fucking thieves. Give us the fucking company." We got a Ernst and Young report. We got like they did all these buzzwords and like ooh, like tried to be scary, and it's like, all right, well, let me see the report. To this day, to this day, okay, we've never seen the Ernst and Young report that they claimed was the forensic audit. Okay, and we had, well, where's that discovery at? You can't find it. Oh well, uh, because it's bullshit. It
Yeah.
never existed. Like just because you hired Ernst and Young for something else doesn't mean they did a forensic audit that proved like Chad, Pat, or Bill were guilty of a crime. You know,
Yeah.
so, like duh. Like to this day, we've never seen that audit, and it's fuck. We're in 2025 now.
Yeah.
This letter came in like July or August of 2020. It's fucking stupid, right? And then so and even like the FBI agents that were involved were too stupid to like they're in a preliminary hearing saying, my lawyer's like, well, why didn't you get like the forensic copies directly from the CPA firm? Why didn't you get forensic copies directly from Microsoft? Why didn't you get the forensic copies directly from the servers or the accounting books? He goes, I didn't have to. Same shit they did to Trump.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
same
Yeah.
shit they did to Donald Trump. Like they just like they have their thing and they're believing one person and they got the evidence, so it's like tainted and all that stuff, and they're gonna have problems because like there's a new sheriff in town and I just so happen to know these sheriffs. So it's
Oh,
like
that's yeah.
everything, and I'm not asking for any favors from any of them. I'm not doing that. I'm just saying, but here's my favor. I'm saying just look into it,
Yeah.
and I
Well,
guarantee you when you
yeah.
look into it, you're gonna see corrupt and shady law enforcement people and individuals, and then do what you may, okay, but I'm not like the other side that was giving political donations to people and asking him to do things. Like I didn't do any of that, but
Yeah.
that all will come out,
Yeah.
so
Well, I mean, you're being honest, and that's event that
yeah.
honesty still does pay off. It really does. You have to believe
Oh,
that,
I
or
believe
we're
it
all
will.
fucked, you know. But
Hmm.
I mean, if you have nothing to hide and you're being honest the whole time, then
Yeah,
eventually it's gonna come out the light, and
well,
everyone's like,
like
"Oh,
send us
they were
like
all lying," and
even that, the current case, like literally we waited like 9 months to get discovery. Like if you had this, I don't know, I met with the U.S. attorney and the FBI in like, I don't know, early 2021. No indictment, nothing like that. Like the federal government didn't come
mhm,
after me at all. Like they looked at it and they're like, all right, no. The state police and then the FBI took it to like the local DA and everything. They're like, all right, we'll charge him, I guess. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And it's like, okay, uh, the, you did this multi-year thing. Why wouldn't you be able to just give the discovery right away? Why are we still, but my lawyer's still waiting on shit. What do you like? Great. We'll wait for you to fucking make it. Like, and we literally have, you know, they again, back to, your wife's question, like they picked the wrong, they picked the wrong guy, and they didn't know about my tenacity. They didn't know about my grit and my like if I was guilty, I'd be like, I'm guilty. I'll take my fucking medicine, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
I'll take my medicine,
Yeah.
and you know, uh, that's it. I would be like, all right, well, you got me. It's like, but for that, you know, it just wasn't stressful because, like, to me, stress is, hanging out of a helicopter in Basra, Iraq, getting shot at while I'm trying to slide down a rope. That's stress.
Yeah.
Stress is like I'm doing 180 or 165 miles an hour, 180 in the car, 165 miles an hour in a stadium super truck down the backstretch of Road America, and Robbie Gordon and Matt Brabham and Blade Hildebrand and Casey Mears are banging on me and sending me into orbit. Like, that's fun too.
Hmm.
So it's just a different level. So like I remember when we got that letter, like Chad Taylor panicked. Like he literally shit his pants. And he was like, and he was pissed. He wanted to fucking kill someone. Like I was just like, whatever, fuck them. Gracie was kind of calm about it, and kind of Pat got worried. But literally Gracie and Pat were more like, well, fucking our name ain't that much in it. Like it's like more of them two assholes, and they would be right to go after Chad Taylor and me because like Chad and me ran everything, and
Yeah.
we were the ones that showed up every day to work, and we worked amazingly together. Like when we were working together, like we built and created good things, and we had some really good people around us. But then again, we also had some really jealous and shitty people around us, and when you get too big too fast, you can't, monitor the hen house, and you bring the wolf into the hen house and they start fucking, driving other employees out of the company. They start to make it a toxic environment, and just things happen. I mean, and again, I'm not without fault. Like, I dated someone that I met in a restaurant, and then lo and behold, like she becomes an employee, at the restaurant, like not in the company. Like I was like, well, that I would have been like, when the person came to me to say, hey, let's hire this person, or I'm like, no, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Or even just take it what it was. It's just fucking sex, you know? Like that's okay too. Like if you fuck someone, it doesn't mean you need to have a relationship with them.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
you know, So my point is like I'm I'm I know the mistakes I made, okay, but they were just that. Like they were mistakes. They weren't criminal
Yeah.
mistakes,
Yeah.
you know. So it's a big difference. And
It was
when you try to
unintentional mistakes, not intentional mistakes.
yeah, they no,
You know, like you learned from it was something you didn't intend to do. You just kind of learned from it, but you're not like going out and going, I'm gonna embezzle all this money or something. You know, like
well, then no
intentionally doing it.
embezzlement
Yeah.
happened. Like even the racing stuff, they were like, "Oh, well, you're using that." It's like, well, when Chad Taylor came up with
Mm.
the fucking, you know, uh, the that kind of like how to market it, like yeah, I think we were in the room and I threw out like, "Oh, well, AT&T is at a racetrack. That's
Mm.
fun." And he's like, "Oh, let's fucking do that." Like I thought we'd do like a small sponsorship, like a couple $100,000, because you got to like Chad. Then like I remember going to the one race, we did the lowest sponsorship they had, right? So and that's just to get involved, like in the access. So now you're in the suites with AT&T and T and Verizon and the people that could buy your product, right? So now
Yeah.
you're there, and then like I come back to the next race and fucking lives on the car now. I'm like like we were this small little logo, and then now the company has a bigger logo, but then also like where we were, live is on the car. I'm like, how the fuck did that get there? And then like that went. So and I wasn't mad at that because I
Mhm.
knew it could translate, and
Sure.
like at the end of the day, it's like me and my three friends started this company. So yeah, we're gonna fucking promote it and we're gonna make money for all the companies together. It was co-branding. That's kind of what you do. And you don't think that like the CEO of AT&T or DHL or Verizon or GoDaddy loved the fact that they were one at a racetrack during a weekend and two rubbing elbows with fucking Chad Taylor and Chad Gracie and of the band live?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Where do we sign?
Yeah.
But guess what? They couldn't sign because our operations side was, lying to us and saying, "Oh, well, we're going to be done with the line." Like, I'm not a guy building the fucking, like, I'm like holding the line and building a fucking fiber optic network. We pay people for that. And the guy in charge of that would be like, "Oh, next week, next week, next month, next 3 months, 3 months." And so, if we think we're going to have this line built and the revenue is going to be tens of millions of dollars, what the fuck is giving, a few hundred grand or even a few $1 million to market? Like, any company that's going to make that type of revenue is going to take a big percentage of their budget to do marketing. So again, we were getting bad data in, so we put bad data out. So I was like, all right, well, we think the line's going to be done by like, say, okay, like December, November of 2013. Great. Let's sign a deal. We'll do a little marketing with IndyCar. When I say a little marketing with IndyCar, we'll go to these trade shows. We'll start, advertising. We'll do commercials, all this shit. Like, we were in the 2014 Indy 500. We fucking did a commercial, spent hundreds of grands on it. Now on the list of the fucking thing that they put in the preliminary hearing, it's like Bill Hines stole this money. No, motherfucker, nobody stole it. Bad business decision based on the bad data we got from the fucking COO,
Mhm.
but nobody stole the money. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you're an idiot if you think that. And are we really talking about something from 20 fucking 14? It's like it's like so yeah, again, if you had to do it over again, you just feel like, what? We're gonna wait to make these big decisions
Yeah.
until, like, and but then you're gonna make me get the employee like, what, you don't trust me? And it's okay to say, no, I don't fucking trust you.
You
We're
got
gonna
to earn
trust and
it. Yeah.
verify.
Yeah.
And when the fucking customer signs the contract, then we'll do it.
Yeah.
Then we'll do all that shit. So that's where we as a collective failed, because we were like, we were too trusting of the people. And all they were trying to do was literally, like, we were trying to do something big and create jobs
Mhm.
and tax revenue for the state of Pennsylvania and the community. And that's what Louis Appel Jr., the dad, wanted us to do. Like, he died in June 27th, 2016. And, it was a sad day because, like, he really, like, this guy loved fucking York, PA. Fucking loved it. Probably wanted to kill live when they called him bad in the shit town. He probably wasn't happy about that. And, you know, other people around him didn't care about that. But, like, I'm still in York. Think about that. I'm still in
Yeah.
the same fucking building. Chad Gracie's still there when he comes to town. Everyone else is gone. And in my opinion, and the opinion of many people, guilty people flee.
Mm. For sure. Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
guilty people are the ones that leave in the middle
Be
of
the
the night and pack up and leave, and
Get as
then
far
try
as
to
away from
blame.
they can. Yep.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
fucking still, you know where to find me. So it's
Yeah.
like,
How hard is it to just put things aside and let lawyers handle things and not personally call people and say, "What the hell are you trying to do to me?"
well, funny you said that in the beginning. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
Like, and it would get me in trouble. Okay. And I always felt like I wanted to defend myself. So, one, I can't go in. Look, we got to have a podcast after September like 28th or 29th of this year, because then my gag order is over
Okay.
for the my personal case that was there.
Yeah.
But what I can say is that where I fucked up in that one was, I went on Facebook and I was like talking shit. It's like, hey, two sides of every story and blah 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 blah, and again, not mentioning anything because I got to be very vague on that topic.
For sure.
But the gag order is over, and I do plan to tell my story on that when the gag order is over. And
Awesome.
but that was where I fucked up. I should have just, like, literally, like, all right, guilty on that one. Like, yeah, like, if somebody has like a court order against you, I didn't know, like you can't talk shit about them. So that's public service now. You can't go on Facebook and defend
PSA, the
yourself.
more you know.
You can't even be like, hey, Chad, Gracie, go on Facebook and talk shit. It can't even be by a third person. So like if you're one of your friends like he really hated you, they could be like, hey, yeah, he told me to say this. Like they'd be putting you in jail. Because and it's here's the thing, they don't even care that you talked about that person. They don't give a fuck about that. That's not what they're mad at, and that's not what they could throw you in jail about. It's the fact that you were disregarded a judge's order. How dare you?
Yeah.
That's and which is right. Like you have to respect the rule of law. And if a judge who's in that authority says you should not do this, and you do that, you look like a fucking asshole. Like, oh, we're like the easiest rule ever: stay off fucking Facebook, right? And I'm like, it's like fuck this shit. It's like, you create a fake profile, be like, fuck that shit. So yeah, like okay, like bad, bad, bad. Like don't do that shit. But again, I'm willing to admit that shit. So it's
Yeah.
like, all right, yeah, that part, like don't like that's dumb. So it took a lot to be like, okay, let the lawyers handle it and speak through them because
Yeah.
they can't be like when they do a filing in the courts, like you're not going to get like Chad Taylor's biggest mistake was going to Rolling Stone and talking about me. My lawyer read it, calls me up laughing. Like I'm in the car and I hit hello, and all I hear is fucking two lawyers laughing. They're like, ha! I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, I'm fucking like, fuck this guy going on Rolling Stone. And like, he's like, calm down. Like, I was ready back to go on like Facebook and create some fake profiles. It's like, he's like, Bill, this motherfucker gave you the hammer to hit him with.
Yep.
I was like, what do you
Yep.
mean? He goes, well, we know none of it's true. We have the evidence. Like my lawyers are, if my lawyers thought I was guilty, they would have fucking dropped me in a heartbeat. They don't need the money. They
Mhm.
don't need the money. Believe me. Like they're a good law firm. Like all of them, they're good. They're busy. Like they're doing like important shit. Like my criminal defense lawyer is doing like capital murders, and he just won a big case where he got somebody. And not only did he get the guy off of a murder, like the a death penalty. Like usually in the death penalty, the win is like, hey, my client's not gonna die.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
he's still going to jail, but he's not dying. Like he got life in prison. Like that's a win for those guys. But this guy literally got him acquitted. So he's like,
Yeah.
ooh. And then my business attorneys are in Philadelphia, and it's like they're so fucking busy. They don't need my money. So they were like, Bill, we're gonna fuck him up. So like it's like this is he can't prove any fucking thing here, and nobody else can. So it's like,
Nice.
all right. So it's like, and the other thing too is if you know you're guilty, oh, I would believe that you would be not sleeping at night. You like if someone is guilty, like truly, I
Mhm.
believe they'd be contemplating suicide. They'd be contemplating jumping off a fucking bridge, like that they failed everyone. Yeah, it's Chad Gracie. Like, I sleep at night. And one thing, I also eat good. So it's like, I got to stop doing that. Got to get back in the racing shape. Long Beach Grand Prix comes up soon. So yeah, it's like knowing that, like, I did my best and I know I didn't do anything criminal,
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
knowing, like, just because someone didn't get paid back a loan doesn't make it criminal. Right. And here's the thing, like, my company didn't pay someone back a loan. They didn't put us in default. They didn't give us a default notice. They didn't fucking, follow the rules of the loan and say, okay, well, now you have 30 days to cure the loan. Like, think about this. If, like, let's just say you had a mortgage through Wells Fargo. You guys missed a few payments. They started foreclosing on you, but they didn't. They didn't give you any paperwork. And then one day the sheriff's officer comes to your door, knocks on the door, and says, hey, guys, you got this mortgage for this house. And, your house, $200,000 mortgage or whatever. And, yeah, we're going to charge you with theft because you didn't pay the loan back. Like, well,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, you didn't put us in default. Why
Yeah.
didn't you give us a 30-day right to cure
Yeah.
or anything else? Why don't you give us the opportunity to sit down and come up with a business decision, this discussion? None of that happened. It was immediately like, oh, well, I didn't get paid back, so fuck you. And because I'm an idiot, not me being talking about this. Like I'm an idiot. And I don't realize that, yeah, even if the loan is 2 years, 3 years, 4 years old, I can still put the person in default and get paid back. But they're like, whoa, well, I don't think I'm going to collect this from the company because again, it's a company loan and it wasn't personally guaranteed. So it's like, okay, great, you weren't paid back this money, but that doesn't make it a crime. That
Yeah.
just makes it like a bad loan. But tell us. And
Yeah.
Chad, Pat, and myself would have sat down and figured out how to pay it back, you know?
Hmm.
And like the guys that had the mortgage on the building, they did that the correct way. That's called the Kinsley family. They put it under default and they said, you know, fuck you guys, pay us, which they have every right to do.
Hmm.
You know, but yeah, I'm one person. I have three other business partners, so it's a collective loan, right? But then like that's why when like I said, Chad Gracie, they came to Chad Gracie and say like, let's all just fucking go after Bill. It's fucking his problem. It's like, wait a minute, we're in this company together. It's collectively our debt, you know?
Yeah. Let's
And
figure it out instead of, yeah.
Gracie was like, love you guys. You're my childhood friends, but I'm not lying. I don't give a fuck who you are.
Yeah.
Even
He
though
has
like
integrity. So, yeah.
and that's tough to do because I'll tell you right now, if him and this one and one or two other people had just gone along with that narrative,
Hmm.
it's probably like I probably couldn't fight that. You know, it's
Yeah.
like everyone is like sounding the alarm, and it's like, well, shit, you know. But the fact that I had people that still supported me, and like even I don't think John Rotolo liked me at first, you know, like in the beginning, and then he just started same thing, asking questions, and then just he would message me I think where he really turned was he posted something and just on Facebook, he's like posting this article and Chad Taylor's lawyer contacted him and fucking went off on him, right? And it was like, oh, you fucking remove that or I'm gonna fucking sue you. And they were also doing to this guy, Josh Lichtenfeld. And then Josh was like, what the fuck? I'm just a moderator on a Facebook page and I'm getting a lawyer like try to bully me from Pennsylvania. And then Chad Taylor started talking shit about John Rotolo on Facebook. So John was like, fuck this guy. Like the jersey came out of John so quick. The Italian jersey, right? Like, like the Gambino Rotolo family, it's like fucking, like, oh, anyway, he went off and Chad Taylor removed that fucking post. Like John went in. It was like, how fucking dare you? Like, I'm a fan and like, I'm just sharing, like if you want us to share your blogs and your post, why can't we share a dissenting voice, like, and let the people, so it's like, you're trying to like stifle and only have one narrative out there. And you're not like even Chad Gracie would then say, yeah, it's like they wanted me to do that. And like, I was on this 5-hour Zoom meeting and Gracie says, and he goes, and I asked one question. I was like, all right, well, show me where the money came from. Show me where the money was deposited. Show me where 10 million, like, because Chad in Rolling Stone was like, this guy stole 10 million from me and my band and fucking broke up my band. And he goes, Chad, we all as well as know our band has been breaking up since 1994. So we know that's bullshit. And Chad Gracie from the beginning is saying, we need band therapy.
Yeah.
And they fucking do. They're all fucking retarded. It's like all of them. They all got their own issues. And here's the thing. I was friends with all of them. And I like them all. Now, I still talk to Ed every once in a while. He's a great guy. Like, he's a really nice guy. And here's the thing. I don't blame Ed for what he did, But again, I don't blame Chad Gracie for what he did. I don't blame Chad Taylor for what he did. And I don't blame Patrick for what he did. They all had their own situations. But guess what? Ed's talking English, Chad Taylor's talking Chinese, Gracie's talking Italian, and Pat's talking fucking Icelandic. They don't understand each other. Okay. Mm-hmm. It's like worse than a marriage because collectively they're fucking really good. Okay.
Oh, I know.
And like their talent level, like I've been at concerts with them and Guns N' Roses. Those four musicians shit on Guns N' Roses. I don't care. I'm talking like the craft of them playing sonically. And I'm not a musician, but like I can hear it.
Yeah.
I know what I hear. Okay. Like the writing skill of Ed, all that stuff's like they would shit on most major bands, but early on, their ego got to them, and I think they had shitty people running the show, just like we had shitty people running UFD and some of the Think Loud companies. Like we trusted them, and they put us in bad situations, and for what the management did to live, that's a crime.
Well, they're just the press alone that they weren't doing a lot of press, if any at all, and that doesn't
Hmm.
because with them selling as many albums as they did, we should not you all of us should not have to go, hey, you know the band live? Like, no, not really. I'm like,
No,
You have to
yeah,
say
Lightning
like
lightning
Crashes.
crash.
Oh, that
who the
was
fuck are
them.
they? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, but you say Guns N' Roses, and I was like, oh yes, we told it. It's
Well,
like they could be in the same boat as that. They just never did the press that they needed to do, and that comes to management, and
nobody believes this, but like it's a true story. So if you go to RIAA.com, that's like
Mhm.
the basically entity that certifies how many like live like Lightning Crashes is in the top 100 selling
Yeah.
songs. Okay, and Throwing Copper is top 100 selling albums. Okay,
Mhm.
of all time.
Yeah.
And you're like,
Right.
all time what? All time rock, all time eternity? No, all
All
time
time.
every fucking thing. It's
Yeah.
up there with fucking Thriller. It's up there with fucking Police Synchronicity. Like it's up there with all those power fucking
Abbey
bands and songs.
Road,
Okay,
all that stuff. Yeah.
Beatles, all
Yep.
that shit.
Yep.
So top 100. Now, granted, the top 100, there's some ties. Like there might be like one number one, but like three number threes, three number twos.
Yeah.
But it's in that list
Mhm.
because it's like shit. I think Throwing Copper now is close to 10 million fucking platinum.
Which
You
makes
ain't
it
getting that
diamond.
today.
Yeah. Yeah. They're close
Yeah,
to diamond. Yeah.
you're not getting that. Like, Kendrick Lamar, he can write another diss track on Drake. He might get millions of streams, but he's not selling 10
Yeah.
million physical
Yeah.
fucking copies of an
Yeah.
album.
Yeah.
You
A
know,
million streams
like
is like 3 cents. So,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But I'm saying, okay, even if it's like, all right, hey, I sold a million downloads, but think about when Live was selling.
Hmm.
You couldn't buy one song; you had to buy the whole
Yeah.
fucking album.
Yeah.
And now, like the music industry killed itself in the foot by doing
For
it that
sure.
way.
Yeah.
Like I'm an artist. I created this album. There's 12 songs on it. You're buying my body of work. You're not picking
Yeah.
out one
Yeah.
song.
I still get
Like,
CDs and albums. I'm still a
yeah,
physical copy guy. So,
yeah.
yeah.
Remember that Columbia Record Club?
Oh, that's
Pay a
how I learned
penny.
about a lot of bands. Wait, I can
Dude,
get 12 CDs for a penny? Hell yeah. And then my
I had
parents,
so
I'm
many
underage,
friends.
so my parents will say, hey, you did it for an underage kid. So, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I
Yeah,
had
yeah,
friends
yeah.
create fucking names and
Yeah.
just different name, and they pay it, and one guy like had a fucking music collection of hundreds of albums overnight, and he had like five or six different people that created names, and they got this, and yeah, it's like the
Yeah.
Columbia Music Club, and somehow that was all subsidized by advertising and all that shit. So
Yeah.
it's like whatever,
Yeah.
but that drove ticket sales. You
Yeah.
Hmm.
know,
Yeah.
go to the show. So it's funny. But yeah, back to Chad Gracie. Like I can't say enough about him. Like
Mhm.
and the funny part is like law enforcement, FBI, they talk to everybody but Chad Gracie and someone else and two other people. And it's like,
Imagine that.
why? Because you don't want to hear the truth. You why
Don't
wouldn't you
let the
talk to
truth
them?
get in the way of a good story, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but here's the thing, because if you have that dissenting voice
Hmm.
and it's proving questions, then and you take that to a DA, and the DA is going to be like, "Well, fuck, like, where's our fucking case? Where's the beyond reasonable doubt?
Yeah.
Like, there, like, there's going to be so much doubt.
Yeah.
It's like they don't know what they don't know, and they think they know, but I'm sitting here telling you right now, like, I'm not losing that case. I'm
No,
not, fucking not
I don't doubt
happening.
it. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and
Are
yeah.
you leery of partnerships going forward?
Oh, fuck yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I don't really want to work with anyone.
Yeah.
Like I like if it's my idea, I'll figure out a way to do it myself now. Just because it's like one, people get jealous, and some people they're out there like, oh, I wish it was my idea. Like think about creative songwriting. Okay, like Ed writes a song, and okay, great. Other people try to take credit for it. or if
Hmm.
Chad Taylor wrote a song and then other people try to take credit for it, you
Hmm.
know? So it's like, I kind of like Metallica's model or even the Beatles model. It's like, or even shit, when you watch Bohemian Rhapsody, that was true. It's like, okay, from now on, and when they were bringing Freddie back in the band, he's like, from now on, we don't care who the fuck wrote it.
Yeah.
If it's you wrote it or I wrote it, all four of us are getting credit for it because
Well,
this is
that's
the
what
part.
Rush, they did that from the start. As soon
Yeah.
as Neil joined, he's like, it's three ways. We're splitting it three ways. That's it.
Yeah.
Because Neil played drums, wrote most of the lyrics and everything else. But yeah, he's like, no, we're all 33%, and
That's it.
whatever. That's it. Like that's what we're getting. That way, there's down, and they were one of the bands that stayed together the longest because look at and like you brought up Metallica, like they don't change members at all
Well,
unless
and when they did, they were like,
someone just decides they want to leave. And
well, look at the
that's
bass player. The bass
yeah,
player, when they
Cliff
brought him
Burton.
in, they were
Oh
like,
yeah.
the,
Oh,
well, the
Jason
new,
Newsted.
well, the new one,
Oh,
Trujillo.
Trujillo. Yeah.
sure, yeah, they brought him in. They were like, you're a
Yeah.
full member, you're in the
Yep.
band, your
Yep.
ownership, and here's $1 million bonus. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if
Yeah.
they wrote a song, he's on that, and
Yeah.
he might have not done anything. He might
Yeah.
have been like at the hotel when this shit was made. But I think
Yeah.
that way, because to me, I don't think you can discount, like, let's just say, the lead singer and the guitarist write the song or something like that together, or maybe one does, right?
Hmm.
But all right, you still need the bass player and the drummer to go on tour and perform that and be part of the collective. So,
Yeah. Well,
it's,
yeah.
but egos come in the way and people want credit. To me, it's like when I'm playing before like MetLife Stadium and 80,000 people, that to me is the only credit I need. The credit that's going into the bank account. I don't need,
Yeah.
I was talking to a guy today about a business thing. I was like, um, uh, his name's George. And actually, I said, George, you always want to take credit for everything. You want people to know like you own something and that you have this. I said, I don't give a fuck if anyone knows what I own. I don't care about that. I rather wish they didn't, and I don't need the credit. I don't need to take credit for anything. And now it's like, even with all my companies, like I don't I don't want to be the CEO. I don't want to be the manager. I'm literally like some of my companies, I'm just like a consultant. Like I
Mm.
create them, I let other people run them, and then like through like a company or a trust it's owned, and then I'm like just a consultant.
Yeah.
It's like fuck that. Like somebody else could be in the paper and have that target on their head. I just
That's what I
want
was just gonna say. Don't Why do you want that bullseye on you if you don't have
yeah.
to? It's your money still looks the same in the bank account. Why do you want the target with you and people bugging you or the wrong people coming out of the woodwork and all that other stuff? So
Actually looks
absolutely.
better in the bank account.
Yeah,
It's
I
like
bet.
on that side, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So how did you and J-Ro meet officially?
like I said, just through that, I was
Through
like,
that?
he and
Okay.
literally came out one day and supported me on social media,
Hmm.
and like he hit me up and he's like, hey man, like I don't like one thing, like you don't have your lawyers fucking, because he posted like bad shit about, like they posted the Rolling Stone article, and I was like, I
Hmm.
didn't be like take that shit down,
Yeah.
right? Whereas that other side, literally, they were telling people like, don't be friend, like, I put it this way. I guarantee you, like somebody called up Ed and was like, "Hey, don't talk to Bill Hines." And Ed Kowalczyk's like, "Fuck you! You don't tell me who to talk to." And Ed's on record saying innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah.
So what are we going to do? Just fucking kill this guy? And so Gracie was the same way.
Mm.
So it's like I commend Ed for that. But yet, like, here's the thing: like, you can't unless you're married. You know what I mean? Like, you can't. I'm saying you really shouldn't be telling someone who they could be friends with. Like to me, I remember Patrick came to the building one day. Again, this was after they were out as owners, and I met him in the parking lot. Okay, so this is like probably 2022 now. Again, we weren't talking. And I
Hmm.
said, oh shit. I said, Gracie, I texted him. I said, Pat's outside. I'm gonna go talk to him. He was like, all right, good luck with that. Pat's a unique individual. Shit, Pat had a grudge against his brother and didn't talk to his brother for 25 years.
Jeez.
So it's like, it's probably his brother. I think his brother was upset that like he wasn't in live, but like Pat's like, I'm one of four guys. Like, how the fuck but again, I don't even know if that was the case, but
Yeah.
anyway. But so I went out there and I said, Pat, I don't know what the fuck they're saying about me. It's not true. Gracie knows it's not true. Come inside. I'll show you anything and talk to you. He goes, no, I trust you. Literally placated me, lied, and then fucking left and, all that shit. And like even going through with the band when Ed was like, fuck it. The music's over. I can't play with these guys. And I was like, why not? I was like, play with Gracie and fucking Patrick. And he's like, okay. And at first, like, Ed was like, because of you, Bill, I'm going to let Patrick in the band too. And so the original agreement they had was going to be Patrick, Chad Gracie, and Ed go out and play. And like Ed was waiting on Patrick to just like kind of put the nail in the proverbial coffin and like just totally, because the last thing Ed wanted to do was go on tour and have someone talking back and bringing information back to Chad Taylor.
Yeah.
Because, you know,
Yeah.
and again, like Chad went in Rolling Stone and blamed me about that, but that's just not the case. Like I was not responsible for breaking up their band. Okay, again, like you know they broke up in like what 2009 or 10 or something like that,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
there was that lawsuit. Like, well, okay, did I break them up then too? So there's always that. So even when they got back together, I know like some band, like some fans or I would say detractors say, "Oh, it was just a money grab." It's like, I mean, like that's not. It's not Metallica. It's not the Eagles. It's like if fucking the Talking Heads come back, that's a money grab, okay? Because they offered them like $100 million. Like
Yeah.
that's a money grab, okay? Like Live wasn't getting a money grab. They actually genuinely wanted to get back together with friends. They tried, but I think something happened to where Ed was just like, you know what, Spidey sense. Like in my opinion,
Yeah.
like it was just like, I don't. I don't know if I want to be with a guy. I don't want to be around a guy that fucking sues his friends.
Yeah.
Think about it. So like me and Ed had a long talk, and he's like, you know, like fucking Bill, I know what you're going through. They fucking they think about this. He goes, Bill, go read the newspapers and all the shit back in 2010. They said Ed Kowalczyk stole money. He goes, I'm sitting here like I fucking wouldn't steal a penny from anyone, you know, and he didn't, and it was proven. So it's like they settled that lawsuit. So it's like you say, he didn't win, but he didn't lose. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's a
Yeah.
settlement. No side is going to be happy. So like they literally, and again, it was the three guys in Live saying, "Hey, lead singer stole money, bad." And there was a big, and there were people who were like, "Who gives a fuck? Ed's the best." And then there's other sides saying, "Fuck it, like fuck Ed. This the Gracious Few's now out, and they're fucking great." Which the Gracious Few is fucking amazing band. Like that's not even like fucking Kevin Martin's. Oh my god, man, he fucking just shits out lyrics and so talented. Like he could play drums. You know that?
No.
I got videos of him playing drums. Like fucking
Nice.
like. I mean, he's not Chad Gracie, but he
Yeah.
could fucking. He's not Dave Grohl, but he can. So I think that just makes him. And then now they got Peter Klett coming back, who I think Peter Klett's one of the best guitar players on the fucking planet. Like he is, and he's a good dude. He's a really good dude. So I was just texting him the other day, even. So
Nice.
anyway, so with that whole Live thing, like literally just for me going to a concert, like Ed kind of laughed, but you know, and then that guy Z-Man Zelenka got me those tickets. That kind of planted the seed to like, hey, let's get these guys back together. Then Bob Zazera, a guy who's on like the Facebook pages and everything, Live fan, he got me tickets to a show in October of 2015 at the Bethlehem Steel Stacks. Went there and I bought like a poster. Like in order to get like in the VIP room to get like signatures from Ed, you had to buy something, like merch.
Yeah.
Hey, businessman. So I went in there, had my hat down, and he's like, "All right, you know, yeah, a little couple of drinks." And he's like, "All right, bud, who do I make this out to?" And I go, and I send it. I give him the poster that they sold, and I said, "Yeah, make it out to Chad, and Pat of the band Live." And he looks up, he goes, "Bill, what the fuck?" And he's like, "Did you like the show?" I'm like, "It's fucking brilliant." He had a video board and everything. I said, "Fucking production was great for just three people because he only had him and he was playing guitar, a drummer, and a bass player.
Okay.
Like Zach Loy wasn't even there at that time. So it was October 2015, and I said, "Yeah, I know a band that needs a lead singer." And he goes, "Well, I thought they have someone." I said, "Nope, I just fired him." Like, and literally, I had to fire Christian. So that was like because he had this like manager, and even all that was a lie, and like there were people out there lying about that. Like Chris was a mess. You know, I love him, creative guy, but he was a fucking drug addict. Okay, and that's like I've literally walked in and seen a fucking prostitute sniffing coke off his ass. And here's a guy like I've never done a drug in my life.
Yeah.
Okay,
Same here.
fucking hate it.
Yeah.
Had a sip of fucking shitty Coors Light, right? Spit it out. Like I'm like again, I've always been on the right side of the law with that shit. Like I'm a guy that's like, like me and J Ro fight about this shit. Like I don't think fucking marijuana should be legalized. I fucking hate that. The dap pens, the smell of fucking marijuana everywhere. I fucking hate it. Right.
Yeah.
I do believe it's a gateway drug. And they're like, oh, it's not addicting. Bullshit. A fucking Big Mac could be addicting. You know, like I mean, like Coca-Cola is addicting, coffee's addicting. Because and I just that's my personal opinion. But here's the thing though. I got lots of friends that smoke weed. Good for them. I don't judge them.
Yeah.
I'm saying for me personally, I just care
Sure.
about my
Yep.
domain.
Yeah.
That's also my kids. I'll be like, no, you're not fucking doing that shit. Like my one daughter took her out for her 21st birthday Wednesday, January 15th, right? It was when I took her out and she lives down in Philly. So we went to a restaurant and it's like her first drink ever. It was just me and her, right? And it's like, I'm like, oh, like, all right, I know this is what to do. Like, and I felt happy. Like she invited, it was just me and her, like
Oh,
nobody
that's
else was
cool.
there. And she's like, yeah, me and my mom and my sisters will go out like in the weekend when I come home and whatever. So I was like there and I was like, oh, is that your first drink? And she's like, Dad, really? Like I'm in college. She's like, this is my first official drink. And then she was even like, oh, in high school, like the whole soccer team was hammered all the time. And I'm like, man, don't tell me that shit. It's like, I don't want to know that stuff. And then it's like, oh, and they tell me like, oh yeah, I tried an edible or I tried like smoking weed, but like one time and I tried it because everyone, but I hate it. I don't like, so I'm like, I'm all like pissed she tried it, but I'm also like happy she tried it because now it's like she knows that she doesn't like it.
Mhm. It's out of her system.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
I don't need to do that shit. And then my
Yeah.
other daughter said the same thing. It's like, oh yeah, somebody like gave me a vape one time and it was fucking horrible. It's like, oh, I don't do that. So I'm like, okay. And then I see like John going all these podcasts doing the vape. Like, I was like, John, you got to stop doing that shit. He's like, fuck you. So like me and John have that type of relationship. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
I saw the one when you were on theirs talking to them. I think it was on YouTube, and I was watching that, and I remember that you guys going on about you
yeah,
don't like any of that, and even drinking and all that stuff. And I was like, cool, because I've been as a musician, I've been around a lot of it,
yeah.
and my thing is for one, I don't like it when people can do anything that they can blow in your face.
Oh yeah, I
Like at
hate that.
least with drinking, you're not spitting on someone's face, and they're
Yeah.
not enjoying it with you, quote
Until they
unquote,
get
enjoying it with.
really inebriated and then spitting
Yeah,
all over you. Like,
for sure.
yeah.
But I also have seen people do hard drugs.
like,
And
I,
that's no fun. I mean, just
like I said,
if
I
they
saw somebody snorting coke off
yeah,
Christian's naked ass.
and they think they're fine, which is the crazy thing too. It's when
Yeah.
they think they're good, and they're like, no, you're not at all good.
Hmm.
And it's a scary thing to see that because I've never done a drug in my life either. I've been around it,
Yeah.
never tried it. I'll drink every once in a while, but I don't drink on nights I work the next day or have
Yeah.
anything major going on the next day, because I'm not going to make a fool of myself either.
Or your wife will kick your ass.
Yeah, exactly. Um,
It's like,
I also work in a warehouse with heavy duty
Yeah.
equipment. It's like I'm not gonna if I screw up, it's gonna be just because I screwed up, not because I was inebriated going to work or having
well,
anything.
if you screw up and they test you, let's just say you screw
Exactly.
up and you
Yep.
get hurt,
Yep.
workman's comp, you got a piss
I,
test coming.
yep.
Yep.
Yeah. So
And
I
here's the
was,
thing:
yep.
let's just say you get hurt,
Hmm.
okay, and you can't work, and you go like, and this is anyone, not just you,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it could be a cop or whatever.
Hmm.
First thing they're gonna do, it's now it's like a rule, it's policy. Like you're gonna go for a piss test. Okay.
Hmm.
Like when I got out of the military, I worked for Philadelphia Coca-Cola bottling company in Philadelphia on Erie and O. I worked there. And if a forklift driver just even tagged the fucking pillar of the warehouse, because if you hit it hard enough, maybe the roof will fucking come down. Little accident, don't matter. You're going to Concentra, it was called, and or like any of like Jefferson Health or somewhere or Temple. You're gonna get a piss test, and if it comes back, you're fucking fired.
Yep.
And or if you get seriously hurt, well, guess what? You're fired and you're hurt, and you're not getting workman's comp. You're not getting your short term or long term disability. And then who's that affect? It affects your family.
Yep.
And how would you like to come home from your job and tell your wife like, "Hey, honey,
Not only did I lose my job, but
I got
yeah.
fired. I'm fucked." And guess what? When you go to hire another job, to get
Yep.
another job,
Yep. They're gonna see
you're
that.
gonna, you're gonna lie on your application.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like blackballed.
And
Like,
hope
yeah,
they don't call your former employer. Yeah. Yep.
like can't
It's
hire him
yeah.
anymore.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
to me, that was just like just that one domino falling. And I'm like, yeah, so it's not worth it. So, and I've never been like hooked on anything. I can give up caffeine. I've gone months
I'm
without
the same way.
a
Yeah.
glass of wine and stuff like that. It's like I've never had that bone in my body. I don't gamble. I don't have any
No,
vice other than
no,
drumming. Drumming's been my
yeah.
constant my whole life.
So I
But
lied.
that only hurts me.
I did have wine when I was in second grade. I grew up Catholic, and they made you drink. But it's
Hmm.
not wine when you're drinking it. You're drinking the blood of Christ as
Yeah.
a
Right.
Catholic. So
Hmm.
like
Oh
I
yeah.
keep. But here's the
I
thing.
have Italian family, so
I
yeah.
they gave you the host like, hey, whatever, and then
Hmm.
you take that in your mouth, right? Like to me, I was like I'm here, it's like some dude's putting a fucking bread in your mouth. I'm like, at first, I'm second grade. I'm like, this is gay, like it's like like feed me. Like it's just, I was like, something in my head was like,
Yeah.
this is just dumb, right? And uh, and then you're drinking, and then you drink the wine, which was the blood of Christ. I got back to like the pews, and I threw the fuck up everywhere. I was like, what? Right? Everywhere. My mom's like freaking out. Like my mom's serious Catholic. She's like, "Oh my God, it's sacrilegious. You're gonna go to hell." She's trying to like scoop up all the throw up and like force it in my fucking mouth. Meanwhile, I'm in a white fucking suit for communion. It's fucking like I'm like, all right, these motherfuckers are crazy. So like the quickest Catholics will probably hate me for it, but like like I grew up Catholic, I did the confirmation, did the communion, did all that stuff, and went to Catholic grammar school for seventh and eighth grade, and then went through Catholic high school for 4 years, right? And you know, I don't consider myself Catholic. I'm just non-denominational Christian. I believe in God and Jesus and the Bible, and I have my own relationship with them. I don't feel
Hmm.
like I have to go to a church.
Yep.
Just the fact that the three of us are talking about it right now, like we're
Hmm.
two or more gathered, that's church technically, right? So
Yeah.
I'm bringing that up. So that's kind of my relationship. I didn't force my kids to kind of go anywhere, and whatever their relationship is, I really think each person has to have that relationship. But I just like that didn't work for me. Now for my mom, it works, and I'm
Hmm.
glad. Like I'm actually happy my mom's a Catholic. I'm happy my sisters were Catholic. My one brother's not Catholic because he's gay. So like not like he's gay, like he sucks dick. So that's gay. Anyway, he I'm allowed to say that. We have that like because I have a gay brother and we joke with each other. It's like the gay card. Like I have like the I get to say the gay word.
Are you older or younger?
He's older. I'm the baby.
Oh, I'm
Yes.
surprised he lets you get away with it then. And I don't know if
Yeah.
I let my little brother get away with that shit. So.
Oh, it was just because like our family,
No, I get
we
it.
all
Yeah.
joke around and
Yeah. Bus
laugh
balls.
and
Yeah.
bust balls. Like even
Yeah.
my older brother, man, my older brother would be like, we had Thanksgiving table, and he'd be like, "So, suck any dick lately?" And it's like my mom would be like, "Shut the fuck up at the dinner table." Like my mom wanted to kill us. It's like whatever. My older brother, he didn't like. You'd think I have no filter. Yeah, yeah,
All right.
yeah,
Fair
yeah.
enough. Yeah,
He, he
I can just imagine you and J Ro in your conversations on or
fucking
off air. Oh, yeah, I bet.
hilarious, fucking
Because yeah,
hilarious.
yeah. Because
Yeah,
I'm a ball buster too. Like I've all of my band member, we're always just joking with each other to the point sometimes we're not sure if we're serious or not. That bad, we're busting balls. We're like, I'm gonna laugh because I think you're joking, but I'm not sure. We get like that far into busting balls, and I think that's when it's really healthy is when you're not sure if they're actually still fucking with you or not. So
yeah.
that's when you know it's good. So
Well, depending on when they come at me, like J-Ro or even Gracie, they'll say something. Even different employees, they'll say something, and like if I'm like focused on something, I will take it the wrong way. I'm like, what the fuck, right? And they're like,
yeah,
dude, we're busting your balls. Like they like it's funny. So like
yeah,
yeah, like if they,
yeah.
they get me at the wrong minute, like I'm like what like and I'm
Oh
ready to
yeah.
go on the attack. It's kind of funny actually.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
my guitarist a couple weeks ago was like, "Hey, what do you because we wanted to schedule band practice." I'm like, "What are you doing February 2nd?" He's like, "Oh, dude, like my family's real big into Groundhog Day, so I can't make it." And I'm like, "I don't know if he's fucking with me or not."
Yeah, it's like
And then I'm like, "All right, cool." And he's like, "Dude, I'm fucking with you." Like, "No, I'll be there at 11 o'clock." I'm like, "Jesus Christ!" But it's one of those like I I know him well enough, but maybe that's true. Maybe they're part of that whole thing, but
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's
So
funny.
yeah. Yeah, so it's one of those like, oh shit, okay, he's busting my balls, but he did it in a very clever way. So yeah. That's the fun part about busting balls with people for sure. So yeah.
It's
Um
crazy. Yeah.
yeah. So I want to get back into the drum lessons with Chad.
Oh yeah. So I forget when it was. Well, this must have been like 20. This is gracious few time. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So we sit at the kit, right? And he goes, okay. I'm talking like, I'm like 10 seconds of sitting down at the kit, right? Bam. He's like, all right, get the sticks. I got the sticks, right? He's like, okay, now go like this. I was like, go like this. I was like, why would you? So again, I'm coming from
Yeah.
the baseball world, the football world. Like, you don't want
Yeah.
to, why would you cross up your hands, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, why would you do that? And he's like, just fucking do it. And I go, okay. And then he goes, okay, you take this hand and you're playing over here. You're taking this hand. I'm like, well, that's fucking dumb. Why wouldn't I just play like this? And he goes, Jesus fucking Christ, and fucking throws it in. That was the,
That was it.
I didn't get nothing. I didn't get like that. And then like he walked away, fucking Taylor's in the corner, fucking dying. And he's like, Bill, he's not a fucking music teacher. He taught himself in a fucking in his bedroom in pajamas and fucking like no underwear and no socks, like barefoot and shit like that. And like his mom, like Gracie's mom, has the best fucking
Yeah.
stories, man. She comes into my office all the time, because her other son works there, and and she'll come in and like she'll use we have like a spa area on the third floor, so she'll use like there's this thing called hydro massage. So she'll use the hydro massage bed. It's really good. I suggest it. And then she'll come down and be like, "Hey, just checking in." But she'll have some of the best like Chad Gracie, Scott Gracie stories. Like Scott almost ended the band live in fucking like sixth grade. He fucking chased Chad Taylor and Chad Gracie in his house with a fucking knife. It would have been in one of like two sixth graders from York got murdered by their retarded younger brother. Literally, like big fucking like knife. Like he like you messed with like they messed with Scott, and Scott was about to fuck him up. Yeah.
Yes. And tell us more about Throwcast podcast.
Uh,
How did
yeah,
that start, and how
my
often do you
shitty
do
little
it?
podcast.
It's fun.
Honestly, it's the media. I just didn't like what the media like. You look at the York papers and even the Rolling Stone, like they wrote what they wanted to write. So it's like, you know what? I got a voice and I have a decent following on Instagram for Stadium Super Trucks. So maybe a few people listen. And I know a lot of really famous people, right? Like people like, oh, what's the most famous person in your phone? I was like, I don't know. I'd have to debate that. Like, there's a lot of famous people in there, and I probably don't want to say, but some really now some really really high people in there. So they might have changed their phone number. Like, Bill's gonna call. It's like I got a problem. It's like so Thrillcast came about, and then a friend of mine, and initially I had a co-host, but then like we started it during COVID. I was like, fuck it, let's something to do, right? Like, did like iRacing on COVID. So I was like, oh, let's fucking do this. We got the studio here. Fuck it. So I went out and bought all this equipment. We had a really good producer who worked at Think Loud Studios. His name was Dan. And then Steve and the videographer. So I was like, all right, they were out of jobs. And I was like, well, fucking, I can give these two guys jobs. I can, pay them, and we could do this podcast and then also pay Meg, and started doing that. And then I had people actually come and like literally from day one, like our first ever episode was like number 84 on the list. Like I still have that. I was like on Apple iTunes. I was like, oh shit. Like we got on like the new and fucking exciting page, and I was like, oh shit, that's pretty cool. And then your second episode comes out and you're not even in the top fucking 30,000. And you're like, oh, that's humbling. Like, what did we do? I guess we got to talk about sex all the time. And I just did like, and that's kind of like what they want, I guess. And to me, it's just like, I see those like call her daddy ones and they talk about that stuff. And I just think it's like stupid. Like there's
Yeah.
only so many times you could talk about like sex. Great. Yeah, we all do it. It's fun. It's fucking great. It's kind of what the connection is, but like there's more than that. Okay.
Yeah.
Like whatever. Like there's so many blowjob questions you can ask. It's like, um, and the other thing too is like I see all these infomercial peoples like Dean Graziosis and even Anthony Robbins, and they're selling their books and their potions and lotions. And I was like, you know what? I have a lot of knowledge of what to do and what not to do. Of mistakes I made, and kind of there's like a friend of mine made the theme song. He was a rapper, and he's like, I'm gonna make a theme song about you, right? And he goes like, others are selling knowledge. I'll give mine away for free. So like in business and different things, structure and negotiations, like there's certain things I'm really good at. So like people call me up, I mentor them. Like a couple people started since COVID. I've been mentoring a few companies, and they've come out and they're really successful. And I didn't charge them. I didn't take any ownership from them. I could have went in and said, yeah, I want 20% of your company because I just fucking gave you, like I gave you your logo I created with you. I told you how to trademark it. I told you how to go get the patent. I told you how to build the operating agreement. I told you how to structure the classes and the waterfall rights and like everything that goes into starting a business. So I was like, you know what? I just I don't need their money, so I just rather just help them. And now if they're an asshole, oh fuck you. Like don't call me again.
Yeah.
Like you're
Yeah.
gonna be an asshole. And it's funny though, some of the people that I've done that with and given advice to, they took it, ran with it, very appreciative. And then there's others, and then they kind of like take it too far, or they don't appreciate it, and so then you're just like, okay, well, you got that for free, and that
Yeah.
charge them, you just don't fuck with them anymore,
Yeah.
you
Yeah. Yeah.
know.
Yeah. For sure.
So
Yeah.
that's kind of where the Thrillcast came out, and then so in the beginning it was we talked about some stupid shit, and those episodes did pretty well. But I'm like, you know what? I can talk. I really want to have more business people on, because like, especially like what I went through, kind of what Steve
Mhm.
Jobs went through when you're a founder and creator, and then people run you out, and then it's like, oh shit, like and the trials and tribulations. Because if I could help one person even to say, okay, this is how you need to structure your company so they can't fucking steal it from you. Like literally the company I founded sold, and now the company that bought it is bragging how fucking great it is. It's like how, like literally, like I haven't been in part of that company since November of 2019, right? Had equity in it. Like a
Mhm.
trust of mine had equity in it, but like the current management team was like, oh, we can't sell. There's problems, blah, 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 whatever. All just making excuses, really. And it's just excuses to collect a fucking paycheck. Their $400,000 a year fucking overpaid paycheck. That's what they wanted to do. Meanwhile, the new company buys the asset and is like, oh, we're oversubscribed. We're fucking worth billions. like what the fuck? It's like, and it's really, it goes down to like who's running the company, who's
Yeah.
running the household, who's, and um, so recently I know a lot of famous people my last episode, shit, I think it has like over 550,000 viewers with Paul
Wow.
Tracy. That's just on YouTube alone. Like Spotify and iHeartRadio and iTunes, that's a few 100,000 more.
Mm.
So, and then my follower count from this, I'm like, Paul, man, I think I'm going to owe you money. Paul Tracy, like Paul's controversial, and it got picked up. So that one got picked up by an international journalist who wrote about it. And he
Nice.
basically was saying, hey, in the 2002 Indy 500, I fucking won it. It was robbed from me.
Mm.
So now you're saying that against Elio Castroneves, who's one of only four-time winners of the Indy 500. So an Indy 500 is the largest or most attended race in the world.
Yeah.
It's like fucking, if you go there, it's fucking nuts. Like if you ever have Chad Taylor on the phone, on a podcast, I'm sure he'd come on because he likes to hear himself fucking talk. So, but we all do, whatever. Like he'll tell you, like it's palpable, man. Chad Gracie will tell you, it's like holy shit. You got like 500,000 people screaming and yelling, like you could feel it. So, like the one before that, that was the highest, was a guy named Stephen Wilson, he IndyCar driver, and his was like at 200,000 views. And but he talked about his brother dying and passing away, very compelling. And like up to that point, nobody, his brother died like a long time ago, like at Pocono, probably like, let's say like 2015-ish or something like that. Maybe sooner than that. I don't know. Like tragedy, I forget about, but I tried to. But not many people asked him about it. Like, hey, this one driver drove over the back of you, almost killed you. You broke your back, and you still want to drive an Indy car, knowing that your brother, who was driving his race, and then all of a sudden somebody crashed and a nose cone hit him in the head, killed him instantly, and you still want to get back in the car. And like, I was like, it's kind of same thing what you guys did ahead of time. If your listeners don't know this, like you guys were like, hey, Bill, is there anything you don't want to talk about? And I was like, you ask me anything. If I don't want to answer, I won't answer, but I'm not going to limit your questions. Like, and I just think that's more authentic. And he said the same thing. He's like, ask me anything. I said, are you sure?
Yeah.
I didn't want to like tip him off ahead of time to like, because I really wanted that reaction.
Yeah.
And when you watch it, it's so compelling. And so that wasn't shocking that did that well. To me, that's, and I'm not Joe Rogan and I'm not like the Call Her Daddy lady and those people or Dave Portnoy, but to me, like 200,000 viewers, like it's more than the York Dispatch and the Daily Record newspaper are getting, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's true.
And so Paul Tracy comes out and says this controversial thing, like I'm the winner of the 2002 Indy 500. Fuck them. Like you show me a picture, kind of like Chad Gracie, show me evidence where this guy's guilty. Paul Tracy's like, show me evidence where I'm not in the lead. You can't. And he's right.
Yeah.
Same thing happened to Mario Andretti. Mario Andretti won, he won an Indy 500 in 1969, but then he won a second one and literally drank the milk, did the pictures, and then like the driver appealed and they overturned it 6 months later in a court. And literally the guy that they gave it to was under a yellow flag and you're not supposed to pass. He's like passed 11 cars under fucking yellow, like one of the Unzers. So it's like, well, what the fuck? So anyway, so that's so I know lately all my guests have been sports related, but it's kind of who I am. But I'm trying to get more business people and even just getting the guys there. So I probably would hire more like another audio engineer and another videographer. So I just had more, now it's like on their schedule and it's like, okay, we'll go into the studio and I'll have like 3 or 4 guests in a day and we'll do, and I'll go and like change a shirt. So it looks like another day. They're like, you got to do that. It's like, oh, look.
I've done that with band photos. We're on the same site, but we're changing clothes. So I think it's different days. Yeah.
Yeah. So if like in a weekend or we'll go have a couple days in our studio, like we have bedrooms there so people can stay over and like that's was set up for that way. So like bands would come in, they would sleep over and there's like a gym, a sauna, a steam room, a bar, all the bedrooms, like hotel style bedrooms, a kitchen. So like, shit, Tom Lord Alge was there and, like he was a big producer, him and his brother, and like Tom would be there and just live there. Like shit, Jerry Harrison lived there for months. And I think Jerry Harrison's the one that bought all our like plates and forks and knives and like he was so anal. Like, he's in the Talking Heads. He's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. That Jerry Harrison. He's like, all right. Like, he literally sent my assistant back to the store to return the silverware because it wasn't heavy enough. He's like, you have to have a weight to it. It's like, she went to Target, bought anything. Like, oh, this looks good. He's like, nope, I can't use that. Fucking hilarious shit. But here's the thing, though. Does that surprise you? Like, that attention to detail?
No.
And that's why his songs are so fucking good.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's you have to be like that. You have to be that anal retentive about it because that's how things get done correctly too. Because I know, like, I don't want to listen back to this. If I made a mistake, I'm not going to be like 3 months going, oh, I'm okay with it now. No, I'm going to be like, I should have changed it when I was there doing it. So let's fix this now before it bothers me later, kind of a thing. So I totally get that.
That's what that is. So we're trying. So I'll have more guests on. I don't know when we're gonna do the next episode. So like it'll be funny. It's like I'll come out. We'll throw out 8 episodes in 8 weeks in a row, and then it might be like 6 months before another one comes out. And you kind of totally kill your momentum. Like between this whole run I did like I think 4 or 5 recently. Right? Those are actually filmed a year ago, and I think a hard drive got lost. And I was like, well, fuck. And it's just like, just being busy in these court cases and, suing people. And so for most people don't know, like, I have that one like criminal case, but then the other ones, I'm suing people. Like I'm a plaintiff
Yeah.
and fucking I'm winning all of them. So like it's just, even if to me if it's a settlement, it's going to be a settlement to where like I'm winning. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
maybe I might not be able to publicly say I'm winning, but because that's how they do those little settlements, but when you look behind the curtain and you say, "Oh, okay, what did Bill get out of it, or who got what out of it?" And then you just like, okay, you kind of read between the lines, like, all right, that's the motherfucker that won, like that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, and sometimes you just, it's not a popular thing, but sometimes it's best to just like settle something and then walk away. Other times you just gotta say, no, fuck you, we're going to trial and I know I'm going to win, and you're just going to get, fucking throttled publicly, and sometimes that's okay. And one or two of the cases, I might have to do that too. Like, like even the one they call like a referee, the court referee's like, well, this fucking case is like fucking, they should just lay down. Like you got him. It's like, are you supposed to be saying that? It's like, no, but when this goes before a judge, the judge is going to be like, you're wasting my fucking time here.
Yeah.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. Yeah.
clear.
This
It's
is what you're
clear.
bringing.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it's like what don't the judges don't, one, judges, a couple things. Here's some free advice for everyone. One, if a judge tells you to do something or not to do something, fucking listen to them. They can throw you in jail. They don't,
Hmm.
they like, like they could just fucking bomb, boom, you're in fucking jail for 3 months or 30 days, 60 days, just because of contempt. They have
Yep.
that power and nobody's going to fucking say shit. So
Yep.
fucking do it. They've got to respect you might not like it, but respect the court of law and their, and then, was it two? I forgot the other advice. So you're all fucked. It's like funny.
Listen to your
That,
lawyer.
yeah, listen. Yeah, actually, yeah, listen to your lawyer.
Because
Yeah.
they're the ones that talk to the judge and meet him for golf and stuff. So definitely listen to your lawyer too. So
Yeah, my point is you're paying them, and it's like, okay,
yeah.
and again, I don't know what that was part of me. It's like, yeah, I'm paying them, but like, where would I think that I have better knowledge than them in law? And then they
Yeah.
do that, and then honestly, you make them look bad. If you make your lawyers look bad, it's like, think about this: after your case is over, they still have to deal with that judge, and that judge is, like who. So, any of my adversaries, they've been through so many lawyers. If people who, and there are like shit, that one live website, they fucking post everything. Like they're fucking so anal. And I think the one guy's overseas or something like that. And, I guess whatever. It's a fan site and they do a good job with it. They post everything. They don't care. And, like not taking anything down one side or another. If it's anything related, they're putting it on, which they should do. But,
Yeah.
um, like it's just crazy how much content goes on there with that, and it's just nuts.
Well, we definitely enjoyed listening to the we listened to the J Row ones, but the one about like starting a podcast and how you should start it was really helpful to us.
Yeah,
So we talked about that with him too, as far as like we did start with just a single microphone and we took that everywhere with us, and then like we listened back to it, it's like we need to get more professional, so we got a mixing board and microphones for everybody and all that. And it was just great hearing you guys talk about that and going, that's exactly what you should do, but make sure you enjoy doing it first. And that was just a big thing for us to hear, is that yeah, we're doing it right. And yes, we were 100 and something episodes in before we really put in the money for it, because it's not cheap and
it's
it's
not
very
cheap.
time
No.
consuming too.
See, I
Like,
went overboard, like because I had the money to do it. So
mhm.
like I literally went to like Dan and this guy Steven. I said, okay, what do I need?
Yeah.
And they're like, what's your budget? I said, I don't know if I can have a budget, right? And I'm not kidding you. Like, look, I spent 6 figures on podcast equipment. So like 3 good cameras, mics, like the stands, the mic, different mic stands, ones that connect to the table.
Mhm.
Um, the Mac Pro computer, fucking this G unit drive that's big as shit. That's like 26 terabytes. That stores all your shit. Like like you can pop out
Yeah.
a drive like for that session and they take it to go do their video editing, and so like a whole bunch of stuff, mobile shit that take on the road, like the mobile mics. So like
Mhm.
like it, and it's then you got website design, you got all this shit, getting like we host through like Podbean for us. It's just like some do other ones that are probably better or just as good, but it's where you want to host, and then obviously setting it up and paying for that. So you don't need to do that. You
Yeah.
you don't need to do that,
Mhm.
at all. Like, yeah, our first episode, everyone's like, "Oh, your sound is so good." So I pay for a really good sound guy. Like, he's fucking really good. So like that, but he makes all the levels. Now he's not doing anything in post. He's like he's setting it up right the first time. So
Yeah.
like all your levels, and as a musician, like if you do it right up front, then you're not having to like, oh shit, back into it.
Yeah.
But man, like this was, I went through, where did I get this at? No, Sweetwater was out, but I got this at B&H Photo,
Oh, okay.
which I don't know if you ever went on there. Like, they really have some good deals.
Okay.
Like
Is
B&H Photo,
B&H
they're out of
photo?
New York.
Okay.
B&H Photo,
Okay.
they're out of New York City, and I'm not kidding you. Like, for most of the country, it's like free shipping and it's overnight.
Wow.
Like, you
Wow.
just get, like, if I ordered something even up to 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock tonight,
Hmm.
I don't know how they do it. I'll have it in my house tomorrow.
Wow.
That's
Like, you
awesome.
can really go late. And they had this, because I was like, well, I get asked to do podcasts or different things, or even like business Zoom calls or something like that. I want, like, sometimes the audio on your laptop or your monitor or whatever sound like shit.
Hmm.
Like, this is what my camera is. It's just like a Logitech. Um, no, it's like a $300 Logitech, like, Zoom camera for business. I'm in my home office at my house, but like, if I was at the studio, I would have literally plugged into the studio cameras and it would have looked a lot better. But I was like, all right, I'm gonna be home. I forgot what day it was, and I was like, shit, because I prefer to just had done it in my studio, like kind of like J Ro did it in his studio. So I was like,
Hmm.
I had this mic for other ones, and I'll take this on the road with me to, like, just in case I have a surprise thing to do. And so it's,
Yeah.
at least it's quality, and then they just, I'm sure you had guests that just like, talk on that mic, and it's kind of shitty. It makes it challenging because then you guys are sounding so good, and then your guest is like, "What the fuck did they say?"
Yeah.
So but here's the thing: there's reasonably priced stuff now. Like, if you want to start a podcast, a couple $100 and you're off and running. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you know what? I would suggest people, like, even if you can't get a guest, just talk.
Yep.
It's
That's our
content.
first 17 episodes was just that. And we
You
finally got a
you
guest.
and you
So
and your
yeah.
wife talking. And you know what? Do you guys got kids or anything, or no?
She has a kid. I've
Nice.
adopted her.
So
So
you have a kid now.
yeah, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
She's an
yeah.
adult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, whatever.
Yeah.
But even like family members and loved ones, like,
Hmm.
just from you two just sitting there being filmed talking shit, like, that is like a history record for your
For
family to
sure.
be
Yeah.
Yeah.
like, look at these two motherfuckers. Look how great they are together. And it's
Yeah.
like, anyone that watches your podcast, it doesn't, it shouldn't be shocking to say, like, hey, why are these two people married?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, so that's a testament to the love that you have for each other. And
Mhm.
and this is like, you're chronicling your journey together, and
Yeah.
you're giving even people an insight, because I learned a lot from you guys just from talking to J-Ro. It's just like, so it's like, all right, these two cool people. And I said, hey, J-Ro, I saw your podcast episode. I said, that's pretty compelling. Like, I mean, fuck, man. I said, I couldn't listen to it all at once because it was fucking 3 hours. He goes, yeah. And I really do like the long form podcast, because, like, when you start, like, I wish the Paul Tracy one was longer. Like, it was just
Mhm.
getting good, but he was like, his manager's like, all right, it's going to be only under an hour. He's got
Yeah.
to go golf, something, whatever. And it's like, whatever,
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
he's like, shit, I didn't realize how
How
many
much? Yeah.
views I was going to get. Like,
Yeah.
fucking his phone's ringing off the hook. I was like, all
Yeah.
right, well,
Our big ones, like I don't really know what I'm going to talk about, and then it's like hour and a half
Yeah.
later, like, oh my God, like you guys could keep
you
going.
get
Like,
into
yeah,
it.
let's keep
Yeah.
going. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't think we'd go 30 minutes. We've gone 90 minutes, or I'm like, yeah, that's just if it's good talk, good conversation, let's
Yeah.
just keep going. If you
And I
don't
don't
have
have
a,
any time frame. So, it is what it is. So,
yeah,
but yeah, so podcast to me is fun. And like, there's some of my I always say my shitty podcast, because, like, literally there was this so my attorney, his name was Jason Confair, who was Chad Taylor's attorney, who he literally got kicked off one of the cases because he tried to represent people against me, and he got like basically the judge removed him from misconduct in that case. Okay, in one of the cases that I'm suing. And so he was like, "Oh, I was never Bill's attorney, and I wasn't Chad Gracie's attorney." He's like, "Yeah, you were, motherfucker." You know what I mean? Like, I fucking paid you. Like, like you got my money. So it's like, you liar. And literally in one of the filings, he literally admits, like, yeah, I was basically Bill's attorney, but I was acting as a spy to go back to law enforcement with. Like, what? It's like, fucking, man, the book or the movie that's coming out. So my lawyer, the transcript is funny. My lawyer is like, Judge, he's literally saying he's a spy. He's like, I never heard of this shit in my life. You can't, like, your lawyer, you can't do that. And so with shit, I don't even know where I was going with that one. But maybe I just want to say that my ex-lawyer, Jason Confer, was a fucking spy. So
How's that working out for him?
yeah, I don't. He's just a piece of shit. But yeah, like even that, it's like, what was the question again? I don't drink, I promise.
No, we're just asking about the Thrillcast podcast and
Not the equipment.
equipment. Just helping us with knowing that we're doing this the right way. And
How did I get there then?
I don't know. I don't know.
We need to get you, like, rewind it, go back to.
Well, I'll go back and listen and edit everything.
Oh, I'm gonna
send you an
definitely
email. Hey,
listen.
this is kind of where we kind of veered off road a little bit.
Yeah, I do that a lot. I like, look, squirrel. Like,
I've gotten better about it, but early on I was very much like I that's why I learned to start writing stuff down and still listen, because I would listen back. I still can't watch myself, but I learned to listen to myself, at least. You listen back, because it's going to help me in the long run as far as what I need to fix. And a lot of it was like, I would not even intentionally, I would just interrupt someone because I get an idea and have to throw it out. And like, that was a hard thing for me, because
I would take J-Ro that too.
Yeah.
I would tell J-Ro that. I said, you kept interrupting the guy. And like, he had this one guest on, and the guy was really saying a lot of good stuff. And I was like texting Gracie. I was like, tell him to shut the fuck up and let the guy talk. And then me, like, afterwards, I'm like, dude, you gotta let him talk. He goes, I fucking know, but like, I'm a comedian. I'm used to standing up there and talking. And I'll tell you right now, like, he's gotten a lot better at it. And
he has, yeah.
And so is Chad Gracie, and that's the key. Just like, have fun with it. Even like, it's okay to apologize. I'm sure I'm gonna cut you off. You're gonna ask me a question, and I'm gonna fucking go off the fucking road. Like, what the hell happened there, Bill? But long story short, on podcast, just who cares what people think? This was the guy. Here's where it was. I'm bringing it back again. It's talking about the podcast, and this guy, they literally went to the FBI. So it's my own attorney going to the FBI and the state police, and they're talking about me and shit. And in their audio interviews, I'm going to release all this shit. Okay. Nice. Like, this shit, they're like, yeah, and his stupid number, Hines 57, that's stupid. And they've got that shitty podcast. And I'm just like, so I call it a shitty podcast. But guess what? These motherfuckers listen, because, like, how on the podcast you can see analytics where people are downloading shit. It's like, I know you're listening, right? and to confirm that, in the fucking that meeting with them, and like that, we have the tapes from the FBI. It's like, they admitted they listened to that shit. Even the fucking FBI, they'll probably listen to this. These fucking losers, like, it's like fucking hilarious. So it's like, even the people that don't like you, they're going to listen. And great. Guess what that does? It pays us.
Yeah.
So it may not be a lot, but you're listening to my podcast is part of the metrics that do pay us.
Yeah.
And I don't care if it's $10 or a couple or 10,000. You're at least buying me a fucking cup of coffee. So fuck you.
Well, and I've learned more from listening to podcasts than probably books I've read.
Oh shit. Yeah. It's so good.
Like,
to your point, I won't like watch my podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'll put it on Spotify in my car, and I'll I'll drive 2 hours. But here's the thing though, like, sometimes when you're interviewing someone, I don't listen to what they're saying. And then I went back, I'm like, oh shit, did Paul Tracy say that to me? And I'm like, fuck, I wish I'd heard that.
Yeah.
I may have heard it, but I didn't understand it. Mm-hmm. And I wish I followed up on that question. So like, I did see you writing stuff down and like pointing at each other, so I know like that's what you're doing, and so it's
Yeah.
good. So you can ask those follow-up questions.
Yeah, and without interrupting when someone's in their train of thought. Because the last thing I want to do is you're talking about something really great, and then all of a sudden I throw this at you and we go somewhere else. But I wanted you to finish what you were talking about it. So it's like,
Especially me, like you,
yeah,
I will go off topic because I'm retarded, and I do. I have that ADHD, and I don't, but I won't take medicine for it. Like, oh, if you take Adderall or this or that, and you fucking be laser. Like Chad Gracie's like, if Bill's on something like that, he'll be fucking scary.
that's
And then he
what
even
that's
says
what I'm
like,
afraid of. Yeah,
people are like, oh, the first time Bill gets drunk or gets high, we want to be there. And Gracie's like, fuck no, I don't know what Bill we're gonna get. It's like,
yeah. Well, that's like with me with because I have anxiety and depression and stuff, and they've given me stuff to try, and I've tried it, but I'm like, no, 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 no.
yeah,
I do not like how I feel when I'm doing this, and I realize it, but there's some people probably don't, and it's like you
yeah,
shouldn't be on this, and I'm always afraid of like. So I won't try it at all anymore. I'm like, I've tried everything that's thrown at me. I'm not doing any more of this crap. I'm done. I've learned. But it's like, there's got to be some people that don't even know that it's not good for them and people aren't telling them that. And it's like, eventually they're going to do something really stupid and regret it and not even know they did it. And I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be like a zombie at just all of a sudden and go and do something stupid. I don't even realize I'm doing like almost like sleepwalking. I'd be just so afraid of anything or just behind the wheel or anything like that. So
well,
yeah.
interesting you brought up the depression and anxiety because like for the majority of my life, I never understood what that was. Like
Hmm.
when people said it, I'd be like, "Hey, you're just a pussy," like
Yeah.
literally.
Yeah.
And but like just couldn't understand it, didn't understand how it affected people, and that was my ignorance. But then again, I'm just like, all right, well, maybe it's because you smoke weed, maybe it's because you do drugs, maybe it's because you're an alcoholic or drunk. Like I was that ignorant and not understanding like what it was. Okay, and I'm just like until so like and it's the human brain's just different and so I was really just like shut up, get over it, like to people it could be
Yeah.
to employees to one time I remember I was meeting with my bookkeeper from one of the companies and another employee who I won't name that I'm not allowed to name. We were sitting there going over stuff and I look over and like I'm like, where the fuck is that girl? Like in her office. And then all of a sudden her head comes up from under the desk. So first thing, like I'm a guy. First thing I think I was like, is she getting fucked behind that desk? Like what the fuck's going on there? We're all looking like, what the hell? And then another female come up and like, what the hell's going on? Right. Like, oh, actually the girl that came up first was someone from a different office. So it's like, okay, well, why is employee one, in employee two's office, right? Like, what the fuck? And they're both females. I'm like, all right, hey, like, whatever. Rockstar's kind of own this building too, so like, this is par for the course. And wasn't that the girl whose office that was having a panic attack because she just actually found out her brother murdered someone
Shit.
Oh boy.
and she was close with her brother. Yeah, the brother, famous. It was a pretty popular story in Maryland, but the brother, I guess him and his best friend, they were best friends, and they got drunk and high, and they were fucking around, and they would do like MMA wrestling together. And and he literally in the interview, to his cop, he's like, yeah, my friend, he beat me in every wrestling match we ever had, and this one I was winning, and I didn't want to let go, and he was tapping out. I didn't think I was going to kill him, but literally because he wanted to win the match, and there was too fucking high and hopped up, so he killed him, and then that's kind of what the panic attack was. But fast forward, so when the situation happened with um my the situation that I'm not allowed to talk about,
Hmm.
and the person that I cared about deeply, right? And when that happened, I didn't know how to process that. I was like, what the fuck is going on here? You know what I mean? And it's like, why would somebody do that to you, right? That you cared about and all that. So literally for one day, I literally had that anxiety and depression where it's like, and it just came over me like instantaneously. It's like, well, I'm just sitting there, like whatever, and then I thought about something, and I fucking threw up. And I'm
Hmm.
like, what the fuck is this, right?
Yeah.
So then I'm actually at home, like, and it's like right behind, like if I point over that way, there's a bathroom, like a powder room, and there's a couple powder rooms in the house, but the powder room's over there. I'm in there throwing up, and then one of my daughters has had some type of anxiety and depression over her life on different things. Obviously, getting divorced, you know, probably affected her.
Yeah.
Like when me and her mom got divorced, but mother two really don't go through that type of shit. But I didn't I never understood her on that. And then like literally, like I'm got my head in a toilet bowl, and I feel like a. And at that time, they didn't know about this situation because it hadn't got to the press yet. And it's like, these are my kids that are young. And I'm like, last thing I want to say is like, okay, this is what Bill's getting charged with. It's
Yeah.
like, here's what the lies are. And I feel like a hand on my back. And then like literally, I don't know how old she was at the time, like 13, 14, like fucking talked me through it.
Wow.
And I was like, oh shit. So, but my mind is different. Like I was able to figure out like, okay, what got me there
Hmm.
so that doesn't happen again. Now, I'm not going to say it's never going to happen again, but shit, that was like in 2019. So like, and it hasn't happened since,
That's good.
but for that minute, I was just like, and it wasn't about like, oh, I'm guilty or, none of that. It was like, here's someone that you care about,
Yeah.
and this is what they're saying. And it's like, well, I wasn't even there that day. It's
Yeah.
like, and like, I hadn't seen the person for a year and a half, like literally. So when those things came out, like it would like the whole, like haven't seen her, talked to her, anything for over fucking, well, a long time. And then all of a sudden you get like a knock at the door. It's like, hey, I'll put this PFA on you. I was like, what the fuck? So it's like, you didn't like, that was like, at the time that, they're there knocking on the door. You're at that point, you're angry and you're pissed off. Right.
Yeah.
It's when you leave and you go back home, you do all that stuff, and then you're getting in your head like, what the fuck is going on here? So
Yeah.
to your point, like I didn't know that, so now I'm very sympathetic to, and you know what? I'm kind of glad I went through that because now I'm like, even I understand, like if say my daughter's just, hey dad, I'm not feeling it today, okay,
Yeah.
and there's nothing wrong with that,
Yeah. No. It's and the hard thing is talking about it. So the fact that someone can, like I said much earlier in the podcast, that I'll let her know, like, hey, I'm just having an off day. I don't know why. Nothing's happened. I just woke up just feeling like this, and just a heads up, like,
Code word for don't fuck with me today.
yeah,
like
today
like
is not the day.
Well, because
So,
even someone could just say one word to you, and
yeah,
like I've seen it happen now. Because again, I was ignorant to that because it wasn't. I'm like, what? Like, oh, anxiety, depression, get over it. Like wipe the
mhm,
sand out of your pussy. Like that's what I would say to a guy. I wouldn't say
yeah,
to a girl. And but now it's like I get it. It's like, and now I'm more sympathetic to that. But now I can see it happening in other people. Like I can be like, oh, there. I was at the DMV the other day to get my real ID, which then I found out I didn't need because my veteran ID. That, oh, like I'm not a veteran. Like the veteran ID actually acts as like a real ID. Like you
oh,
don't
nice,
need both. But I was like, I'm here. Let's just do it. And I literally saw someone sitting there. I'm like, they're going through it. Like they're fucking like something's going on. You could just see the hurt on the person's face, and then like sure enough, like they start crying, like
mm,
just sitting there in public.
yeah, yeah,
Like she didn't have the privacy of going into her bathroom and throwing up. I got to be strong in that situation. So now it's like I
yeah,
feel for those people because
yeah,
now I understand it and I'm more empathetic toward
yeah. No, that's good. I mean, it sometimes that's what it takes to do it. Because I was like that for a long time too. There was 8 years we were together that I never brought it up. She had no idea.
Mm-mm.
it.
So,
Really?
yeah,
Yeah.
yep. It
So what
just,
would you think when he was doing that? Were you like, this guy's just so like detached from me, or maybe he doesn't love me, or like, you
Yeah,
know?
he would get moody, and I'm the type of person, like you said, just get over it. I mean, you know, and
Yeah.
and it sucks because depression really runs in my family. My grandmother tried to kill herself 8 different times.
Oh shit.
Yeah. I mean, one time she literally stood in front of a mirror with a butcher knife and went from ear to ear and watched herself bleed out until she fell. I I I don't get that. I
Yeah.
don't understand
Yeah,
how
I wouldn't
that.
get that either. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I don't get depression. I mean,
Yeah.
there I have off days sometimes, but sometimes I'll just call him on my way home from work. I'll rant for like 3 minutes, and I say, "Okay, that's my rant for the day. I'm done."
That's typically how I usually am.
Yeah,
Like, actually, I should say am. I just like, I'll say my piece and I'll get over it and I'm fine. Like, the next day, people are coming in like, hey, are you like, I forgot about like, and literally
yeah,
legit. Like, even with, if I argue with like an ex-girlfriend or my ex-wife or something like that, they're bringing shit up from years ago. And I'm just like, I forgot that already. And they're like, what? How dare you? It's like almost like an affront to them. Like, you forgot that. It's because I don't want to live there. I don't want to live in the
yeah,
past. And I legitimately would forget the situation. Like, look at me. I forgot the question you would ask. And I'd be like, what the fuck? Like, that's how my brain works. I just like to get it out and like, okay, let's be positive and move forward. And people don't get that with people like you and me when we
yeah,
do stuff like that.
yeah,
It's fucking
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, it's hard because there's sometimes that I just want to yell at him to snap out of it or whatever, but I
Yeah.
can't feel what he's feeling.
Well, I hope you never have to like I kind of wish I never had gone through that, but in a way I'm like I said, going forward, I'm glad that at least one time in my life, because again, I was just so dismissive, like, oh, they're making it up. They're just like, even in school, like when you're in high school or something, or grammar school, it's like somebody called out today because they weren't feel like they were in their feels. It's like, yeah, like that's fake. And it's like, oh shit, no, it's not. It's like, so when there's people out there that, again, like even school shooters and people like that, like they're sending out those signals, but people kind of like me, we're not listening. We're just calling them pussies, at that point. It's like, and that's not fair to them. So it's like now I'm really, I have at least like an eye open to that, and it like kind of like an epiphany, like, okay, that does happen, and you have to be sympathetic to it. You can't be just like a dick to him. So
Yeah,
don't be a dick to your husband.
No, I asked her to give me that though too.
Yeah.
Like get me out of it. You're gonna have to yell at me to get me out of this because being sympathetic is just gonna encourage it, and I don't want that either. Like I need to get through this. I need to get out of it. But
Oh, see, that's cool too. So
yeah.
that's the other thing. As long as you can communicate, and I think
Mhm.
that's where most marriages and relationships and relations failed. I'm
Mhm.
telling you right now, like if Patrick Dahlheimer and Chad Taylor communicated with me instead of just going with the narrative and what the people were saying, instead of just sat down and wanted to actually talk about things, it probably would have never got to that point. It's all about communication and
Yeah.
anything.
Yep.
you know think
Absolutely.
about it, the guy that was owed the money and the loan, like, okay, like communicate, send us a letter saying, hey, I demand that you pay our business loan back. They're like, thief. It's like, what the fuck? It's like
Yeah.
communication. It's key for everything, and
Mhm.
and it,
Yeah.
it, it could kill shit,
And
literally.
everyone's different, and you got to learn how to talk to everyone different. I mean, you've owned businesses and you own businesses, and you got to, each employee is different. You got to talk to,
Oh
one
yeah.
one of them you can be a player's coach, the other one you got to be a coach's coach. You got to be a Bill Belichick or an Andy Reid. Like
Hmm.
Andy Reid is like he's going to talk to his players and find out what's wrong with them and what's going on. Whereas Bill Belichick's going to go get the fuck out there and just do your job.
Yeah.
And everyone's different, and you got to learn how to talk to each individual like that.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm a Bill
a
Belichick.
coach's coach kind of
Yeah.
player. Like I want to be Tom
Yeah.
Brady. Like I want you to yell at me in front of everyone else, even though I'm your best employee. I want you to give me the worst shit you can give me right now, because then they're gonna be like, oh shit, if he's talking
Yeah,
to him
Tom
like
liked
that,
that. Yeah.
then how the hell is he gonna how is he gonna be with me then? He's talking to Tom Brady like that. I better
Yeah.
get my shit together, and that's how I want to be. I want to be the one
Yeah,
that gets
Tom
yelled at the
wants the guy
most.
that's in his
Yeah,
face, not be like, oh,
yeah.
like Andy
Hey
Reid's like
man, what's
to
wrong with
Pat
you? And
Mahomes and Kelsey, do whatever you want. Like,
yeah,
go
yeah,
creative on the fly. Where maybe in the Super Bowl, if they had structure, they would have been a better showing. But they got
yeah,
their ass kicked, by the way.
yeah.
They
Well,
got-
yeah, exactly. So it's and but that's just how it goes. And I'm sure there's players with Bill Belichick that he did talk to different, but he did it behind closed doors. And that's the thing too. But you got to just know how everybody works. You got to yell at me and get me out of this thing. Don't sugarcoat it with me.
Well,
but
as long
also,
as she knows that and you
yeah, and she
communicated with
does.
her, yeah,
But
yeah.
for a long time, unfortunately, I didn't communicate that I was going through shit. I just dealt with it on a daily basis, and I'd have my just quiet days. I didn't talk at all, and she didn't
You're
get
like,
it. I
what the
feel bad.
fuck?
Yeah, I feel bad now for doing that, but I was one of those too that I would be like, "Oh, stop being a pussy and get the sand out of your vagina and all that shit" to myself. So I
Yeah.
totally get that. I did that to myself. So, but eventually I just had a breaking point and been kind of dealing with it every once in a while since then. But yeah.
Even stuff like podcasts talking about things, you
Well,
can,
if
it's
it wasn't for
reminders.
my anxiety and depression, we wouldn't be talking to you right now because that's how this whole
That's why
thing
we
got
started the
started.
podcast.
So,
Oh, really? So was that like, hey, I want to talk about this so it can
It
help other
it
people?
wasn't to talk about the depression, it was just to keep him busy.
it was during COVID, and
Same, right? Yeah,
yeah,
everywhere.
we lost because I had never really had kids, and we had a dog that I watched him be born and picked him out, and
He
we had
saved his life
saved
twice.
the dog saved my life twice, and
Awesome.
he ended up getting a brain tumor in 2021, and for one, we couldn't be there for him, like it was still mandates and everything. We couldn't,
Yeah.
so I didn't get to be with him when he was going through all of it, and we didn't know what was going on. He just started having seizures and never stopped,
Wow.
and we had no idea. And and also my band couldn't get together. I wasn't creating. I'm a very creative person. I'm like, I was just losing my mind. All I was doing was work and go home, work and go home every day. I couldn't have any fun, couldn't do anything.
And we had double blackout curtains on like all of our windows.
Yeah.
And I finally told him, I like, our house is a tomb
We got to
and
get
it
sun
has to
in. Yeah.
stop. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
but
that's so important. Like even in the morning when you wake up, like open the curtains and let the sun in. That is
Yeah.
yeah,
so like you bring the outside world in and even
yeah.
just get out of the house when you're not feeling good. Like
Mhm.
that is what your wife said is so
Yeah,
key.
and we weren't going out anywhere, for that and afterwards
Well, you
too for a
couldn't, yeah.
while. Yeah, and then finally, I started because do you know who Neil Peart is, the drummer for Rush?
He's actually a big Chad Gracie fan.
Yes, he is.
It's like,
He had
see?
died pretty much a year before our dog died, so that was the first big hit. Like I didn't know the guy or anything, but he was my biggest influence.
Oh, so
And
you're a big Rush fan then?
oh, absolutely,
Yeah, they're a
yeah.
pretty good band.
They're
It's
pretty
like,
good.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so that one hit me pretty hard, but I was like, how is someone that I didn't even know hit me this hard? But it's because his lyrics, I related to his lyrics growing up. He wrote a lot about
yeah,
being a youth and dealing with high school and this and that and going to school and not being popular and
yeah.
shit like that. And so I was like, okay. But then the dog dying just really put me over, not creating again. And
Yeah, and we
then,
don't deserve dogs. Like they're so
oh, I know. Yeah.
awesome,
Yeah.
and even when they
Yeah.
fuck up, like when they destroy my kitchen today, it's like you can't even be mad at them. And
Yeah.
man, like some of the worst times of my life were having to put dogs down, and
Yeah.
it's like, honestly, it's maybe it was for the best that you weren't like maybe the universe was telling you shouldn't be there that day because, like I remember, like, and I don't suffer from anxiety or depression, but man, like it was. Like I had family members that died and I didn't cry, but my like seeing my daughters like the way they reacted when I had like knowing like, hey, Daisy's, had tongue cancer of all things, a 6-year-old lab, and I had to take her like I had to put her down because she couldn't eat anymore. Like when
Yeah.
does a dog get tongue cancer? Like where the fuck does
Yeah.
that come? She's not doing like chew, like
Yeah.
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 tobacco or whatever. And
Yeah.
then we had the boxer was such a beautiful dog too, like very sweet, one of my favorite dogs, and literally protected my kids,
Hmm.
like all of them. Like that dog was like, you ain't fucking with these kids. Like and
Yeah.
same coloring as your dog, like same
Okay.
type of. Oh man, beautiful, beautiful dog. And then you
Yeah.
you do that, and it's like I'd rather have people fucking die than these pets that are like
Yeah.
so loving.
I get it. Yeah. So I started listening to podcasts,
Yeah.
and one day I said, this is helping me a lot.
I could do
What do
it.
you
Yeah.
think of starting one? And we'll just talk. Maybe we'll look out and get some guests and let's focus it around mental health and stuff like that. And then what
Awesome.
was funny was the first guest we had was the one that I listened to help me get through some stuff. And he was on the podcast I was listening to. And that was our first guest. And then from then on, we just started rolling. I just started learning how to reach out to people and this and that. And it's just like, it honestly saved my life. and
Is
we've had a
that
lot.
what was that podcast?
It was
What was
called
that one?
Something for Nothing. It was a Rush podcast. It was just
Oh,
all
okay.
Rush.
Oh,
But they
really?
did a Neil Peart episode,
Are
and
they
that
still out? Are they still out?
they're more they'll do like 5 or 6 at a time, like seasonal. More there's
Yeah,
not.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, it used to be weekly,
Oh, look
and
at you. Awesome.
but yeah, they still do stuff. They've had like a bunch of people that were directly related with Rush and did like the lighting guys and all those people, and even someone that's out here in Arizona, Kathy Rankin, she does a lot of Rush stuff out here too.
Yeah.
But
She's a
um,
lover. Look at
yeah,
her.
Yeah.
but yeah,
She's a
so
lover.
that's kind of how we got started, and it was just great. And I mean,
That's
honestly,
awesome,
yeah, it
man.
saved my life. We go out and do stuff all the time. Tomorrow we're going to a horse rescue. We're going to talk to them about what they're doing and everything else because they're needing help with getting funds, and they
Now, is
just
that going to be
lost.
a podcast episode? You're taking
Yeah.
your
Mhm.
gear.
Oh
That's
yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, and they just recently lost the owner to she died about
Suicide.
a year and a half
Yeah.
ago.
Was it suicide?
I no, I think I'm not sure. We'll find out
Yeah.
tomorrow. I don't know if they really disclosed it. But yeah, they've been dealing with that, which that can't be fun either because they kind of just took it over, and it's horses are not cheap.
Oh
So
no, horses are not cheap. So it's funny when you said that you go out.
mhm.
I have this. I'm going to show you this stuff. I had this. Like one of my best episodes that I thought was cool was like me and Meg went to a bar, and I don't even drink, but they had good food, and we were in New York City. And I take this case, right? I sit down, and we just so like this is maybe an idea for you guys.
Okay.
You're at a public setting because you said you're going out public, right? You have this Zoom thing, right? So it's the Zoom H6 handy recorder, right? It's battery operated too.
Oh,
And
nice.
then you would take these mics, and it has, you can also put the little foamy things on them, and it just plugs in, and it plugs into the Zoom, and we're just doing a podcast. And like we didn't do video on, we just were talking, but we would take, like, it was a older version of this one, so we did some video on it, and then so we had clips, and then we took photos, and we just sat around for like 3 4 hours shooting shit. And it was such a good podcast. So like I take that stuff, like that's why it's like if I'm going to a race or I'm going somewhere, it's like I'll have this in the car or something, and they'll be like, all right, hey, we're gonna fucking do a podcast real quick. And it's some of the best. Like there's times I'm like, shut up, don't say another word, because like the conversation is so good that it can make something really, like, a really cool episode. So like, for you guys, I think that's awesome that like you take
Yeah.
the show on the road. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Your dog's not gonna like it. Like, she's the star of the show. Look at her. It's
Yeah.
beautiful, man.
We tend to not do because we haven't really like it's just more of a financial thing with video on the
Yeah.
move. I want to figure out how to do it, but it's just traveling with just microphones and a mixing board is a
That's
lot.
these little Sony ones, right? And
Uh-huh.
then you put it on a podcast, and so you don't need to get all, like, this was like $200. So
Okay.
it's like put it on, and it has a little fuzzy thing you could take off, and it has you can do like all that,
Okay.
you know what I mean? So it's for when it's on the road.
Hmm.
Yeah, you don't
Okay.
need anything crazy. And then if
Okay.
not, just say, hey, we did a audio only podcast, but
Hmm.
you can upload that audio podcast, and YouTube can turn it into like a video, even though it's not a video. Just be
Hmm.
like, you ever see how they have songs like that that'll just be
Yeah.
like, it's on YouTube, but you're just watching like a waveform.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you could still
Okay.
upload it to YouTube as like,
Okay.
and it'll create like even though you're not, but with that, then you could have like still photography on there, and it'll just
Hmm.
change every once in a while. Like you can edit the frame. So like I really, like, you could talk to Gracie, when I do something, I'll go down the rabbit hole and learn so much about that shit.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
like
yeah. I'm
so
still
anal.
Yeah, I'm still learning about the video stuff, but audio
Yeah.
I can do all day because I've been recording my own music for years, so I know audio.
Yeah.
I can look at the metering and stuff and go, okay, it's going to clip here, so we need to bring that down and stuff like that. But video
Yeah,
is
so that
just
Zoom thing, you'll understand if you're doing audio. Then that
mhm,
Zoom thing is you'll understand that right away. It's a little SD card, and you pop it in, and so like on the road,
mhm,
like those could be, you have those little mics, those,
mhm,
and they're cheap. It's
Okay.
again, it's you're not doing anything expensive, and you don't even need power. Like, yeah, you could buy the power adapter, but for batteries, like I'm talking on 4 AA batteries, you can probably talk for fucking 20, 30 hours. So
Damn.
it's like,
Okay.
you're not running out of any time. And even if you do, it's like I'm running a podcast, you run out of batteries, it stops. Again, you're not on video. Put
Yeah.
in 4 AA's and you can just edit it together. Even just like, yeah, we ran out of battery. The fucking idiots are talking too much, something like that.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm definitely interested in that Zoom one
Yeah.
because we're going to a concert on Tuesday, and I'm like, damn, I wish I had that for Tuesday. So I have a great recording thing on my phone
Yeah.
that works really well too, and I can upload the M4A and then change it into a wave and do it from there too, and it actually sounds pretty good.
So
But
Bob Zazera, again, he's a big live guy and he's friends with the guys in the band. He like kind of like is so anal about when he goes to concerts and he has something like that. And he would get the device, but then for like even when iPhones came out and they had these third party peripheral devices, he would get these extra money because like, yeah, I can show you like videos of the band, but I don't have like he buys these attachments that goes on his phone and they're these mics
mm,
and like he gets like really good quality like
Wow.
concert audio recordings like bootlegs and I think he has like his YouTube thing is like white discussion. So he'll
okay.
have that it's just not like he's recording it on the iPhone, but he has
Hmm.
that external mic that's connected to it and
Hmm.
he's like and he goes, Bill, it's cheap. Like the one he was like, well, it was $99. And he goes, I'm getting an awesome recording. And I was like, yeah, you do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, he's nuts. So I don't know if you know, he'd be a good guest to have on because that, I mean,
Sure.
I'll tell you right now, like for you, like he has I don't know if you like live, but he has a lot of live stories. Like he's been a
Okay.
fan forever and
Yeah.
he just knows everyone you know, and he bootlegged this shit out of things.
Yeah. We're big, huge live fans,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's when we got
It's
Chad on, it
sad.
was,
Okay.
yeah. It was when
It's
we
sad
got,
what happened to him because they're so
yeah.
good.
Oh, I
Yeah.
know. I know. I'm glad I got to see him the one time. She never got to see
Yep.
him.
Never saw.
So, yeah, that was,
Well, so I went to a show with Ed in the new lineup and in Fort Lauderdale, like it was like around Easter of I don't know, I can forget what day it was, but like when they first came out with the new lineup, so it was like that first year, so maybe like 2 years ago or something like that. And hey, Ed is Ed. It was fucking
yeah.
pretty good. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, would you like to see the four of them together? Yeah, but the reality is like unless there's like an act of God, you know, it's I don't think it's happening. And again, I don't blame anyone for anything. Like they all have to make their own decisions. And you know what? If like like me and you were in business together and we felt like we couldn't work with each other, it's better to just go each other's way and then
Yeah.
instead of fucking
Just
slinging
making
dirt.
it worse. Yeah. It's
Mhm.
like a marriage staying together too long when it's not working. It's
Yeah.
pretty much what it is. Yeah.
I asked Gracie the other day. I said, "Do you miss it?" He goes, "Nope." He's like, I was like, "You
Yeah.
miss?" He goes, "Nope. I'm enjoying raising my kids and being a father." And I think he's like, being that he's single now, he's like the only thing he missed would be like the after show backstage party and make like getting like a female out of the crowd, like the single,
I
like
know
when he was 18, 19, 20
yeah,
type of rock star.
he did it backwards.
Jokingly, yeah,
Yes,
exactly,
yeah. Totally
yeah,
joking. But you're supposed to do it the other way. You're supposed to have
yeah.
fun in your 20s and then get settled in your 40s, 50s, and so forth.
Well, when Gracie's character, like obviously he was married. He was married twice, but in each of his relationships, like he didn't do the rock star type of thing. He didn't cheat
Yeah,
on his spouse, and when he finds out someone cheats, he fucking like his
yeah,
opinion of you will change
hmm,
instantly. And I'd be
yeah,
like, and it could be his best friend.
yeah,
Like if he found out one of his bandmates cheated, he's like, fuck that piece of shit.
yeah.
So
No,
that goes into your mental thing. So it's
mhm,
like, all right, well, think about it. It's like if these people are coming to me asking me to do this, and it's like I know how they treat their wife.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
fuck, well, you know what I mean?
Well, yeah,
Like
Yeah.
that's a symptom of a much bigger problem.
yep,
So,
yeah, absolutely,
and it's crazy.
yeah. So
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, where can our listeners find you? What you're doing, your podcast, any of your business ventures, anything like that? You're racing.
Yeah, racing is Stadium Super Trucks is my primary one. I probably will do some endurance racing again with some sport car stuff, and that'll be to be announced. I'm sure we'll do something this year. Definitely, I think the next Stadium Super Trucks is kind of like Robbie's so busy and he's dealing with this production UTV production, so he bit off a lot, and so like kind of we've taken a SST's taken a backseat, and COVID really killed us too because it's like an event where you have to be out there, and they were restricting it, so that kind of killed the schedule. So I think this year we'll have a lot more races than last year. Last year, I think we only had like 2 or 3 races at SST, and then so this year will be more. And so the first one's Long Beach, and that's stadiumsupertrucks.com, and it's streamed on, or you just Google, like, look up Stadium Super Trucks on Instagram and Facebook, and some of our video we get more views than F1 and IndyCar and NASCAR. It's like we get like there's videos that get hundreds of millions of views because
Wow.
it's like racing for idiots. Like it's a train wreck, and people want to see the train wreck. That's why WWE is so popular now, or WWF or whatever it's fucking called. And then for me, it's like YouTube is Thrillcast, and then for Facebook and Instagram and Twitter is the Thrill 57. So the Thrill 57. So Instagram I post a lot and things like that. I'm not on like Pinterest or any of that shit, but it's just like, and I really wouldn't even be on social media if I didn't have to be, but like, because of the sports and the racing and stuff like that. So, and then Thrillcast, like if anyone wants to be a guest and they have a compelling story and or they just want to shoot the shit, by all means, we can do it, as well. So just reach out and that would be like, I think it's info@thrillcast.com. And then like the producer will see that. Like, I pay people to do that shit because it's just like I'm so busy doing all that other stuff. But you guys, like J Row got me and you connected directly, so we were communicating with each other. Like
Mhm.
we didn't have to go through each other's people. It's like, but yeah, so that's that. And then businesses, like what I'm doing now, actually, it's because I don't really want to talk about kind of what I'm doing now or what I'm working on, just because it's like in the planning stages, and it's I call it my revenge companies. It's like
Okay.
and not that it's going to harm anyone else because it's not, but it's basically like saying, all right, I'll prove these motherfuckers like what the special sauce was and who was, what. Like they can say what they want, but yet I can fucking do it again. You know what I mean? And so we're in the midst of building out something pretty special in the tech world, and I'm not gonna, basically go out and be, until it's built. Kind of like
Yeah.
with, in UFD, we should have just kept our mouth shut until it was built,
Right.
and kept our head down and until it was built, and do that. So you won't see like that company on a fucking Indy car anytime soon. Yeah.
Good.
And actually, it won't even it won't even be on my Stadium Super Truck. So I have other companies that people know about on the Stadium Super Truck, or even just, and I'm sponsored by a couple different people too. So that like, I don't have one big sponsor, but I have like 7 or 8 smaller sponsors that give like 5 grand here, 2 grand there, 3 grand there, 6 grand, like all different fucking amounts. So like Long Beach was fully sponsored and by tech company and some other companies. Rockwell watches, those are good. Explore Technologies, like those are some of my sponsors on board. Sparco, Arai, things like that. So yeah. But other than that, and obviously I'll probably share some of your clips and different things of this podcast on my
Cool.
stuff, saying, hey, go watch Drumming Up Conversation with Justin and Andrea. Is it Andrea or Andrea?
Either or. I don't
Like
care.
it's like sorry, I'm retarded. It's
No,
like
no, no.
yeah,
I
She gets
never.
them
but yeah.
both. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm cool either way. So our
Yeah.
last question for you, since our podcast is drumming up conversation and
Yeah.
Justin's a drummer, we always ask, who's your favorite drummer? I think I know who you're gonna say though.
Um well, it's funny. I wouldn't say Chad Gracie's my favorite drummer, but
Okay.
I have a pretty good ear for it. So like the other day, like again, like you have a big podcast list, and or not a podcast, like your music Apple Music list, or you have a
Playlist, yeah.
playlist, and you have like thousands of songs on your iPod, like your iPhone or whatever it is, Spotify. And it's funny, I still have the Turn. Have you ever heard the Turn?
Mm-mm.
The live album, The Turn, when with Christian.
I don't think
Mm-mm.
so.
All right, well, I'm gonna send those to you. Okay,
Okay.
so I I was not paying attention. I was not paying attention, and I was like, and it's not a song. It's not an album or a song that I've listened to a lot since 2010 or well 11 or 12, whenever fucking came out, or whatever when it came out, or 13. I forget when the Turn came out. Again, that was the live album with Chris Shin. That's like removed everywhere, so like people don't have it. And I heard I was like, oh, that sounds like Chad Gracie, right? And I know it wasn't a live song in my mind of live, meaning like it wasn't Throwing Copper, it wasn't Birds of Prey, it wasn't Secret Samadhi. And I looked up, and sure enough, it was a song from The Turn. And I was like, so like I know him very well. I can hear his distinctive like way he drums because he has
Hmm.
such a unique style. But I don't know. I really like as far as drumming. Like I don't even know which drummer it is, but like I know like who was the drummer on like You Could Be Mine from like Guns N'
Oh,
Roses.
Matt Sorum.
Like all right, I fucking love that guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because again, I'm not a big music guy, but I just like like it's just fucking nuts.
Hmm.
So he's one of them. I actually like Ringo Starr. I think there's
Yes.
such beauty in the basic.
Hmm.
Like you know what I mean. He just like
Yeah.
here's what I'm doing, and so
And
like
that's
yeah, Chad.
he was a magician, Ringo, because his stuff's actually a lot more complicated than it sounds too, which is crazy.
But
When
it looks basic,
it
right? Yeah.
does, and it sounds like it, but you sit down and play it, like, holy shit, he's much better than he sounds, and it's much more difficult. Yeah, that was the first
People
thing I
say that
learned.
about Gracie because of his
Mhm.
fills are weird. And so and actually Neil Peart, like
Yeah.
he like 'cause when I heard what he said about Gracie, I was like, oh, let me listen to this. And I remember I'm like, wait a minute, where did I hear this from? Well, my older sister, who had passed away from cancer a few years ago, she was a big Rush fan, but I didn't know it. Like I was too young, and because 6 years older than me, she was right.
Mhm.
So it's like I was like, wait a minute, I know that fucking song because like my sister played it and wait a minute, I know that band. The posters were in her bedroom. Like so I know what Rush is.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, okay." So he's definitely one of my favorite. And yeah, so I want to say the U2 guy,
Oh,
Larry,
Larry Mullen Jr.
fucking
Yeah.
really good, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
That's Chad's
uh,
favorite, so or
oh, is it
Gracie's
really?
favorite. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know that. See that? Yeah. And I also do like the Candlebox drummer, Scott Mercado.
Okay.
Candlebox is
Like
awesome.
like man, Kevin Martin, Scott Mercado, like even like Dave Cruzen was in that band a little bit, but I think Scott Mercado is the OG. And with Peter Clay, go listen to some Candlebox, like even it's fucking some good shit. So anyway,
Nice.
so those are the guys, and I'll have to listen to your music now, and
Yes.
maybe the next time if I'm on the podcast and you ask me that question again, I'm gonna say it's Justin.
I don't know.
So
I'd be like Gracie with it. Like, I don't, no, I don't want to be that. I'm very, I
yeah.
like, I'm good, but I appreciate it. Yeah, definitely. My music is still so important to me, and we do it because we love doing it. So yeah, I just love people listening to it. So yeah, that'd be awesome for you to do
Well,
that.
I tell Gracie to keep like Gracie has like three or four the playover videos he do
Hmm.
on YouTube,
Yeah.
and I'm telling you right now, it's like he releases one, it gets like six figures in views,
Yeah.
right? So I'm like, why wouldn't you do that? And he
Mhm.
has like three or four that he recorded like over a year ago. Like it was done the same period when I remember I said like, hey, we lost the video. Like
Yeah.
same thing. Those videos, that hard drive, those videos were on that hard drive because like he came to town, I was there, and we had the video guys and the audio guys because we use each
Hmm.
other's people, and so they were lost, but we got them back in like January. So I let out like four or five podcasts, and he has like three or four songs done, and it's like when are you gonna release them? He's I'll get to it. Like
Yeah.
it's like it's not hard to upload a 3 fucking minute song. It's like when you're uploading a 3 hour podcast,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you're waiting for a
Yeah.
day. So he has those songs. I'm like, dude, just do it. People fucking love them.
Yeah.
He's like,
Oh, I know. Yeah. Yeah. I watched him before. I watched him already, but I watched him again before we had him on just to, kind of watch him
they do
again.
those
And
so good. And
yeah.
again, that's that equipment. That's the when I said I really went overboard, and I
Mhm.
didn't. I was like, all right, we'll just do it, And but my guys, the videographer, the video guy, and the producer, they love that shit. They're like, oh, they geek out. So
Yeah.
we got like live streaming, like we could do live stream. Like we have the switching gear and all that, multi cameras, and so like when they came up with the plan to how they would do the playover videos that Gracie does, how they have the cameras like the top shot, and I think the next time they're gonna put a fourth camera on his feet.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I love
So
that. Especially when you
yeah,
can slow it down, do the slow-mo ones too. It's just so fun to watch.
yeah. I was like,
But
yeah, maybe
yeah.
you get an OnlyFans feet pick type of thing, Chad. I was like, there's a market for that,
Double
man.
down the YouTube and the
Yeah.
OnlyFans. Yeah, hell
I was like, and
yeah.
for
Same
there's
video.
people gross, but people are into that shit.
Yeah, for
You
sure.
guys are awesome, and thanks for the
Yes.
conversation. And like
Yes.
I
Yeah.
said, it's
Thank you for coming on.
no problem. And
Yeah.
again, all the best with that beautiful puppy of yours.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Thank you.
she will give you many years of joy. That's for sure.
Yeah. And you're welcome back anytime. We always invite our guests back anytime. And if you're ever out in Arizona, man, if you have a place to stay or we'll go hang out or do
And you're in
something.
Phoenix.
Yeah.
We're close enough. Yeah. We're
Close.
about 45 minutes to an hour from Phoenix. We're
Nice,
closer to
nice,
like
nice.
Mesa, Scottsdale.
Oh, Mesa, Scottsdale, nice. Yeah,
Yeah. So we're
perfect.
Chandler. Chandler's beautiful.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
yeah. So yeah.
Do you do Pizzeria Bianco? You ever go there?
Yep. We haven't been there,
The
but
best
we know
pizza in
of
the
it.
world from what we've heard.
Yep.
So
That guy is so good. And you got the
yeah.
place next door to it, and like the appetizers, and then
Yeah.
like what's that one called? Orange. What's that? There's a there's another place out there that it's like a pizza place, like something orange something.
Hmm.
But I don't know.
There's so much
That's
good
like
food out here. I mean, that's
yeah,
where all
there's
the
so much good
Italians
food out there.
retire. It's where all the mobsters come out when they're in hiding. So we
Yeah,
have
that or
great
Florida.
Italian
Yeah.
food. Yeah, great Italian
Yeah.
food out here.
Yeah,
So.
the ones in the witness protection program are in Arizona.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The ones
Exactly.
dying are in Florida. Yeah,
Exactly. Yep.
exactly.
Absolutely. Well, cool. Thank you so
Awesome.
much, Bill,
Thank
for
Well,
doing
guys,
this. We appreciate
Thank you
it.
so much, and
Yes.
take care, everyone.
All right.
Be good. Bye now.
So that was our amazing conversation with Mr. Bill Hines. If you're still with us and you did this in one shot, thank you. We appreciate it. That is
Absolutely.
quite an undertaking. If you did it in multiples, we don't judge you. We get it. That was a lot of fun to have that conversation, hearing everything he's gone through and is still going through.
Yep.
And
still smiling.
still smiling, still
Yep.
having fun, enjoying life,
Yeah.
He just seems like a good, genuine dude, someone that like I can see us hanging out with him, Gracie, J-Ro, and just having a blast, busting each other's balls and getting into shenanigans. And yeah, so he's just our kind of people, and that's what we've come across with all this. Yeah, this whole thing's just been awesome. Just the conversations, meeting the people. Earlier today, I got a call from next week's guest, something that we're talking about music related and stuff like that I would have never even made that connection with had we not been doing this.
For sure. Yeah.
So yeah, so just all the people we've met through this and the people we're going to continue to meet because we have a lot of fun stuff coming up too
We do.
amongst what
We have
we've
a
already been through.
Busy
So
March.
very busy March. The first 3 Saturdays of March
Yeah.
are booked up already. So not that I'm complaining at all. And yeah, it's just been a lot of fun. So be sure to, check us out on Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff.
Yeah. Drumming up conversation. X.
Drum conversing.
Drum conversing.
The band Temporal Displacement. You'll hear all this on the audio version. Again, I'm still learning how all this works. I want to figure out a way to get how our intro music and our ads and all that stuff in the beginning and have the music play out at the end. I just don't know how to do that onto the program I'm using for the videos. Again, expenses are a little tight sometimes for a lot of stuff, and it's hard for us to really spend money on something that works. Like, how often are we really going to use it?
Right.
Stuff like that, and is it going to work out? So we're just trying to figure all that out. So For drumming up conversation, I'm Justin Wood.
I'm Andrea Wood.
No
No mercy.
mercy.